Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Synth Geekery, episode 296, and we are dark. We're streaming live from Perth, Western Australia. No, it is dark over here, but there we go. Let's make it light. I'll just turn the light on above me. How's everyone been? We are over here. We're experiencing beautiful weather. It's like blue skies, no wind, no rain, absolute pristine temperatures during the day. It's like 25 degrees. 26, and it's been literally like a week of almost replica days, and it's been absolutely beautiful, especially for sports on the weekends for the kids. It's been good fun. Let us know where you guys are at, what part of the world you're at. Jump into chat. We're on all sorts of streaming platforms. To name a few, we are streaming obviously mainly on YouTube and Twitch. Twitch.tv/Synth Geekery is the channel if you want to join that one and follow us. We've got a followers count on that. Probably should just quickly show you guys that. There's the follow count. I don't know if it's working. Yeah, we're getting close. Let's turn that off though, because it's kind of annoying. But let me just give you a couple of things that you guys can do to help us out, and I've just prepared a little video for you. Hey guys, a lot of people ask me, how can you support the show? Well, you can do it a few ways. You can do it some free ways, and you can do it with some financial ways, which are very, very inexpensive. Let's just check some of those out. Obviously, with YouTube, we can support the show by liking the stream and subscribing. And if you are going to like and subscribe, don't forget to click the notification bell and get yourself those notifications as well. We can also go through and be part of the YouTube channel, and we can click join on our channel. There's a couple of different channel membership options, but obviously the cheapest one is the lowest, which is only about $2.50 US. So do check that out. There's plenty of stuff on the channel, lots of videos, something like over 500 videos. All the previous live streams are there, and also a few shorts and things like that. Also, you can support us through the merch store. The merch store offers a whole bunch of Synth Geekery and Ranzee based merch. Grab your favorite mug, grab your favorite synth meme shirt. There's a whole bunch of stuff in here. Do check that out. All proceeds of the merch does go back into the show, so you're supporting it that way. Link to all this stuff is in the description of the video. Also become a Patreon, and obviously joining Patreon, there's a few different options here, but Patreon is really, really good because we upload a whole bunch of videos and other things, like for example audio, access to music and things like that. Also, we've got synthesizer samplers and things like that on here, so do check out Patreon. Patreon is also very inexpensive to join. There is also a free version. You can become a member as well and access to free things. So Patreon is just patreon.com/Ranzee. And last but not least is become a member of Discord. There's the link there to join the Discord server. We have a lot of stuff happening on Discord, posts about synths and gear. We also talk about Modular, excellent things about Modular going on here, so do check out Discord. Alright, back to the show. Hey, we're back. Hi everyone. We've got a couple of people missing today, so we'll go to the quad view. I think Daren is definitely turning up, so he's going to be in the bottom right hand corner in a minute. He'll let us. He said he's going to be a little bit late. Maybe we can just chuck the chatties in there for a little bit. In fact, we should probably say good day to the chat. I've been kind of I feel bad. I've been kind of ignoring the chatties. I haven't really, but I'm just saying that anyway. Let's go and say good day to the chatties. Hey chatties, nice to see you guys all. Obviously those who are our channel members, big massive welcome. Keith in Watford says he's first, and he's a channel member, so good on you, mate. And you'll see them with little Synth Geekery icons next to the name. So do be part of that if you guys want to. I think I worked out it's $2.50 a month to be a channel member in my channel. I mean, yeah, we aren't charging much, but obviously if that's too expensive for you, just don't forget to be, like I said, be part of the show somehow. You can come on the show as a guest if you want. There's room in Zoom, as they say in the classics, and if you want to join Zoom, chatbot will tell you every couple of minutes, but that's the link there, bit.ly/Ranzee Zoom. Any person anywhere in the world with a camera and a microphone can join us. That welcome to that. I'm just going to open Zoom and just double check, make sure no one's sitting in there. Yep, we are good to rock and roll there. Also, big hello to Chris and Andy, who's turned up.
Hey.
As I said, Daren's not quite here yet, so we'll put the chatties in the back corner. We shall start off proceedings, guys. We're going to go through and say a big g'day to those guys a little bit later in the show, but just thought I'd formally just a quick cross over to Chris. Chris, you can just say a quick g'day to everybody.
G'day, everyone.
Hey,
welcome to the show. Another crazy week. I know that we've got a crap ton of news.
You do, yes, because you've been getting emails. Hey, Andy.
Hey, hope this is working. I didn't get a chance to check before the start of the show.
Yeah, so. Show started.
One of those nights, I got about 2 hours sleep, so.
No worries. Well, get your coffee, mate. Get your coffee into you, and let's get cracking. Don't worry, I'm awake. I just hope we should just reload this crap. Let me just... what I'm going to do is we're going to start off with our standard starting off stuff. But for some reason, whenever I do this, it always never refreshes. And it's just weird. It's weird because it's refreshing. I just don't like Microsoft. It's refreshing stuff on the other part of the show using the same Google Sheet, but it's not refreshing here. And also that
inconsistency. Our worst nightmare. Tech people.
There we go.
We like a good pattern.
There we go. There's some clues. There we go. We're going to do synth quiz, guys, if you haven't worked it out.
Oh, yes.
All right, let's do synth quiz. Now, where's my little stinger? Yay! Oh, indeed. It is synth quiz time, and if you haven't played synth quiz before, there's no prize. It's just bragging rights. We haven't got a sponsor. No one gives a shit. So hey, we'll just do it this way. So what we'll do. I mean, it's typical musician stuff, isn't it? We run our lives on the smell of an oily rag on a shoestring budget, and it's no different when you run a YouTube show. Absolutely. All right, we're going to start off with, you're going to have 3 clues throughout the show, randomly throughout the show. Unfortunately, if you don't like sitting around for a couple of hours, but if you do want to play the quiz, that's your caper. And no, we don't remind you what the previous clues are. So make sure you're watching. Here is the first clue. The first clue is RAC, and actually that's quite topical for West Australians at the moment in the news, but it's completely unrelated to synths. But anyway, RAC, there's your clue. Enjoy that, and at some other stage we'll come up with the second clue. But whilst we're doing that, why don't we enjoy our regular segments, and we'll start off with Funny Side. Stranger things happen. Wow, look how many people are missing. That is crazy. Anyway, Moog Messenger is the... if you haven't worked out what this little bit of a joke is, it's Moog Messenger. Thought it was quite clever. There is a message waiting for you, and that is, buy me. No. Gee, subliminal advertising, hey?
It's definitely the message.
Yeah.
Whether you do or not is another matter.
Right. What else do we have? We have this one. This poor guy, making promises. Not sure if that's working. I probably wouldn't be doing that. I feel really bad, actually. Actually, who's the one promising not to buy another synth?
Exactly.
It's an ironic shirt.
It is ironic, yeah. It's confusing. It's confusing. Yes. It's like going... no, I'm not going to say that joke. I'll get in trouble. You know the sound without hearing it?
It's just like Nick Back's overdrive face. Yeah.
Oh, guys, we've got to look at that a little bit closer, I think. Hang on, let's make it bigger. There we go. How's that one? Oh, yeah. Is that better for you?
That's the face.
Yeah, it's not the filter face. It's I know that sound face. Yeah. Yes, indeed. Right. And is it just me or is it everyone? I think these pictures are too small. I might do the same for this one. Let's make this bigger. Here we go. Audio Parasites, thinking of doing a small run of MAFS, pronounced maths, panels for the Behringer Abacus under piss take panels. Love it. That's fantastic. I don't even know if that's actually real, but they should just do it. Why the hell not? And the last one, this one was like a part B from last week. New Behringer just dropped. There you go. Make your shit sounds.
Something else just dropped.
Yeah, something. Yeah, indeed. Something else just plopped.
Come on, we're all thinking it.
More than just a shit snare, yeah. So.
Yeah. More than just the brown
The
note,
bottom
Andy.
end is the problem.
Yeah. Insert 50 stupid jokes related to that.
I gotta say, the first time I saw a Japanese toilet in Japan, like similar to that, I was like, it made me think something that ridiculous. You know, I was like, what is all this shit, all of this thing?
Oh yeah, the Japanese toilet.
So many controls and everything. Yeah.
I have to admit, the Japanese toilets over the last 6 years have been a bit of a recurring theme on this show. You can just ask Daren. He's not here, but you can ask Wagoo.
Yeah,
who's been around as well. Yeah, bit of a. I reckon it's almost like we should probably come up with another emoticon for the YouTube chat thing and just put a little toilet symbol in there, especially if we think that something's crap anyway. Right, let's do the best meme. So we're going to do the options. The zero voting would be the Moog one, and then so that zero, if you vote zero, that's the Moog. Then it's the T-shirt for option number 1, and option number 2 will be the face. If you make that sound face, and then the maths will be option 3, and then the toilet will be option 4. Now, if you're in YouTube, you get to do the poll. So all you have to do is type in !vote, no spaces, and then a space, and then the number that corresponds to your favorite meme. Go for it. And let me watch these numbers tinkering away. Geez, have we got like a lack of people today or something? What's going on? It's pretty quiet, isn't it?
Stats, see how many.
Where is everyone? It's only 35 people. Where is everyone? Did we scare them away last week?
Wow, that's half.
Too much toilet content.
Here they come.
Still be hungover.
Tell your friends. Here we go. We've got some too much toilet content. Good one, Andy. We've got some votes coming. Look, why don't we let that roll? And guys, remind me to show you in a couple of minutes as we're going to sort of bite into the news, because we do have a fair bit to go through. Now, I don't know how we're going to do this. If who was first up with the news? It was I think Ian. Ian's got the first two, so I'll take Ian's spot because Ian's not here. All right, why don't we do that? Let's go news. Right, it's going to be interesting this week because, like I said, we've got people missing and Chatty's there, and Daren's still not here yet. Nope. He did say he was going to be late. All right, okay, starting with this one. This is the Morphor Echon6. I did sneak peek this last week. This was at Super Booth. Did anyone catch a glimpse of this at Super Booth? Hands up if anyone saw it. I did. Obviously, which is why I showed a glimpse of it last week, and I'm showing it a bit again now. Its biggest claim to fame is the fact that it's a these guys make eurorack modules, right? The Morphor guys, right? But this particular synth is a BBD based harmonizer resonator type synth. So they're using Karpler-Strong as a synthesis mechanism. And what they discovered, they were going to actually just make a synth out of this. What they discovered as they were making it a polyphonic analog synth using Karpler-Strong is they discovered that if you're just putting white noise through a resonator, you kind of run out of ideas pretty quick. So what they decided is on the left, you've got this thing called the exciter. I'll make this bigger so you guys can see it better. So on the left, you've got the exciter. Not a great image, sorry guys, a little blurry. That's kind of like a module that they've made in the past, actually, if you go check them out. And on the right, you've got the BBD, Bucket Brigade Delay Resonator. And it is actually modeled after analog Bucket Brigade delays. So I thought it was quite an interesting type of synthesis. I'm not sure how unique it is. It is a 6-voice analog poly synth. What I might do is just quickly sort of rabbit off a few specs. I'm just going to get a video lined up. Don't know how legal it is for me to show this video, but why don't we? Where does he start playing it? Here we go. All right. Hopefully he's playing it here. Let's just go to here.
And we will add the resonator.
So that was just him showing noise going into the Karpler Strong BBD thing, resonator, and now he's mucking around with it so you actually get a sound.
And same again, when we go to try again, we can take away a little bit of noise and just listen to a normal sort of ramp. And adding the resonator, we get a lot more harmonic content with the feedback. And because it's polyphonic, we can play chords obviously as well. So
there's a little sneak of it anyway. I thought, I don't know how legal I can show these videos from Super. It sucks that these companies don't do their own videos as well. But anyway, what else do we tell you guys about it? By the way, all these news articles, you can actually click on the links on that article below. You can see it there. It's actually on my website right now. If we do go into them, let me just get my big one up. There was a bit of stuff in this, I thought. A bit of stuff. So I mentioned it's 6-voice polyphony, but also 6-part multi-timbral, full analog audio path. The exciter section on the left has analog voltage control oscillators with sample and hold, noise, of course, you heard that. And it does take an audio input as well for external audio, which is cool because that means you can bring external audio in and get that to go through the resonator. It does crossfading for blending between he calls it the excitation sources. I like that. It's a pretty cool play on words. The ADSR envelopes on the middle are 0 to 25 second with onset delays. If you're wondering about the BBD resonator, he does go into a bit of detail about it in that video. I showed links in this article, by the way. 12 dB per octave in low pass filter with 6 dB per octave low feedback low pass filter, because don't forget this is a resonator, right? So then you have a 1024 stage BBD delay line with a high-end BBD control circuitry and fine feedback control and the dry wet mix as well. There's a whole bunch of modulation controls in the middle, which you're probably piercing your eyes on. 9 sources of 32 destinations, quad LFOs, cross modulation, support for MPE, which is cool, and 72 factory presets come with it. So far, there's 144 preset slots. Interesting numbers. I'm not sure why those numbers are they're not sort of round numbers, if you know what I mean. Anyway, design and build, it's a tabletop unit which does come with a Visa mount on the back, and it also is 19-inch rack compatible as well. Pricing, looking at €2,000 for this. Quick comments, guys.
Certainly interesting.
Yeah? Is it for you?
I'm not allowed to say if it's for me because isn't that boring?
Apparently. People complain about anything, don't they?
I'm just saying it's very interesting module. It'd be good fun to play with. If there was no money involved, I'd want to play with that in a heartbeat. However, at that price point, unfortunately, I will not be purchasing one. but power to people who can afford one or want to save up for one.
Yeah. Did anyone pick,
There's lots of competition.
anyone pick up a little bit on the design? Does it look a bit modal synth to you?
A little bit, yeah.
I mean, even
It's
the
certainly
little...
got a kind of almost like a spider's web vibe on the left and the right.
Yeah.
I always like the little, what are they, Nord buttons, I call them? The round.
Oh, yeah.
fun
Originally on the
little
Nords.
buttons with the round.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I quite like those buttons. I'm going to have to see if I can get some.
Awesome. All right. Is anyone mention anything? Why are we at it? Why don't we release the poll for the synth meme? I'll just end it. Stop. Bang. We do have a winner. Geez, surprises what won the poll. Let's have a quick look. It was the Toilette. That's what won. With 3 votes. Geez, not many people voted, to be fair. Like, what is happening today? Have I pissed someone off?
Don't know.
Seriously.
The algorithm's fighting us or something.
Yeah. I didn't do my regular posts, did I? I can't remember. Did I do? Yeah, I did my posts. Anyway, doesn't matter.
Did you do them earlier than usual?
I did them earlier. Yeah, I did them like during the middle of the week. Anyway, let's go to the next one. We'll just soldier on and everyone can watch us on replay like as usual. This is the Musonics Continuo. Now, before we get into this, I just want to point out a couple of things about this. This is a Moog unit modular that you're looking at in a sort of custom case. So this can be standalone, but it's not eurorack. So I just wanted to, before you guys get excited right now, it's not eurorack.
5U.
It's 5U.
5U style.
Yep. They call it, it's another name for it, which really is confusing. It's got another name.
Cosmo
it's
format?
4MU. Number 4, letter M, letter U. Why do they put the 4 in there? Why do they do that? It's a 5U. Anyway, this is all this crazy sort of engineering talk that's happened over the years. If you're ever wondering what a Moog unit is, just quickly, it's 8.75 inches tall, which is 5U, and it comes in widths of 2.125 inches, which when you space it out with 8 spaces, it is a 19-inch rack.
And quarter-inch jacks, right?
Quarter-inch jacks. Yeah. So what is this? The Continuo is a standalone hardware arpeggiator and sequencer. And it's kind of, if you're wondering what type of sequencer is, it's kind of like an SH-101 or a Jupiter 8 style sequencer, where you record notes via MIDI into this, and it will then play those notes back in that sort of SH-101 sort of style. There is more advanced features in the sequencer than what is on those originals I mentioned before. It is currently in a public beta, and the arpeggiator is pretty interesting. I'm confused a little bit about this product and why it exists personally, because I just think to myself personally, like, what is out here that already does this? And like, I don't know, like, it's cool, it's interesting me. It looks, I love the color scheme on it. It's very bold with the green and the blue, and like the buttons like a TR-909.
Is it just like, you know, green solder resist PCB?
It looks like it, doesn't it?
Because that's what it looks like.
Like a solder mat. Yeah,
just like a solder mask.
Yeah. But anyway, so the left-hand thing is the MIDI connection, and it is a complete USB host, so you can plug any MIDI device into it and it will pick it up and work straight away, which is good. Obviously, that's a very, very big plus. But these days, there are quite a lot of devices out there that are USB MIDI hosts anyway. So anyway, there's quarter-inch jacks, well spotted there. Andy for the inputs and pitch sorting and octave staggering and all that sorts of stuff there. You can see those down the bottom in the middle. Real-time performance controls with those little switches and knobs. So there's kind of like a time knob on the left, and you can adjust that. There's a gate knob in the middle and a velocity knob on the right, obviously velocity via MIDI. So there is I don't know, Suit and Tie Guy did a video on this about a month ago when it was, I think it was at NobCon. So let's quickly show you guys that. I don't know how I'm allowed to show it. And Suit and Tie Guy's a pretty nice guy. He'll probably let me. Go the Waldorf Iridium. by the way.
Yeah. Something with polyphony is a good thing to test. Definitely.
Anyway, enough of that. I'm going to get in trouble if I show too much of that, but you guys get the idea. So, you want me to... It's probably too late, Chris, if you want me to send you the email now. You can wing it if you like. I sent the email probably about 2 days ago, by the way. Okay. And it didn't bounce back. Yeah.
We'll have to work out where it went.
Work out where it went into spam heaven. Anyway,
I mean, anything made by Synthai guy is worth using. I have some of his modules; they're great. So, although I probably wouldn't need this off the top of my head, it's definitely probably a lot of fun to use. So
yeah, so this is $500 at the moment. Don't forget, this is in a public beta. There is special software and firmware that they reckon that this thing can take as well. So I think they've got some plans with it, but they just don't go into what those plans are. But I guess where they were sort of saying is they built this thing because they didn't really think those simple SH101 style sequences and arpeggiators were as performance in terms of reactivity as they would like. And this one apparently is very, very snappy with the MIDI reactivity and that side of things. I'm kind of scratching my head a little bit about that because I'm not sure how fast you can get MIDI to react, if it's MIDI 1, that is. There's probably a limitation to MIDI 1's platform anyway, no matter what. It's a digital, platform. But yeah, okay. Not sure if that was just a slip of, or maybe I misunderstood what they were saying in the Superbooth video.
Yeah, I would have thought the Noodler would give it a run for its money on timing, but
yeah, interesting looking device though, isn't it?
Maybe they're just talking about what's in the market, and maybe there isn't a lot available in 5U that did perform, and so they went, "Yep, let's fix that."
Yeah, indeed.
It is cute, isn't it? It is cute. Very retro.
It's very nice
style sequencing. Yeah,
it's very nice.
Yeah, I quite like all the funky buttons and stuff. And I was pleased to see that the little screen there isn't a screen; it's an LED 7-segment display.
Yeah,
so Daren
not
will
a
be
screen.
able to read that. So yeah,
not a screen.
Yeah,
not a screen. Who was going to do the next one? You got the email, didn't you, Andy?
I did, yeah. No, I mean, yeah. I kind of had time to gloss over the stuff, so I'm not an expert on these, but I definitely can talk. I can talk about them. So.
Well, the whole point of it is so that we are not just going, yeah, nah, yeah. Apparently,
just to give us that
annoys people.
Insight, yeah.
We can still do that though. So.
Well, exactly. Apparently, people didn't like it. So anyway,
well,
let's do the next one. So this one's for you, Andy. Do you want me to give a quick overview of this, or do you want to run with the whole thing? This is the ELFO.
Yeah, no, it's from a cool company. It's the same company that makes the Godfather effects unit. That's the Moog Mother 32 style.
Yeah.
So they make some cool products, and I've always wanted to get one of those. They're just expensive. This is another cool idea. It's basically a customize a quad ELFO module. So kind of like a Batumi, but way beyond a Batumi, because you can actually draw your own waveforms with your finger, and you you can touch draw the waveforms. It's got random generator for waveforms, complex modulation. You have syncing and some cool thing called magic crystal function, which gives you like a dice roll randomizer kind of thing. So I mean, it's nice looking. It looks like it's really well built, like some of the other stuff that's out there that they have. And I didn't check what was the price again? €340. So
€340.
Not even a bad price for what it does. So
yeah,
you know,
agreed.
Nice looking unit.
The other thing that I thought was interesting is, and you can see there's a little bit of a graphic here. I might just go full screen on this sucker so you can see it better. This is, by the way, Sonic State's video, so shout out to Nick and the crew.
Always.
You know, once again, it'd be nice if the people actually who make it did their own video. But anyway, you'll probably hear me say that a few times this week. This is the matrix that you can set up that magic roll dice thing. And basically what it is it's kind of like it makes decisions on how each of the LFO frequencies interact with each other, which it's kind of cool. And I was like watching this video and I was thinking, okay, well, why would I want to do that? But then you start thinking to yourself, well, if you go back to the fact that you can draw your own LFO, and then you've got this kind of, see how it's kind of going a bit crazy here in the middle?
Yeah, it's kind of showing you like, you know, parallel universes.
Yeah.
The modulation could go down one of those routes. So it's very, very cool.
And that sort of weirdness in the LFO there could make some really interesting filter modulation or an oscillator modulator or anything, right? You just think about what it could do. And this is kind of making this a very, very cool LFO. And even still, like I thought, how much is a Batumi? 340 euros I thought was actually pretty reasonable, considering this is touchscreen. Yeah. It's got that roll the dice thing. The other thing too, Chris, is this cycles from... I've got to get this thing off the screen so you guys can see it. This cycles from 10 hertz down to one cycle every 60 minutes. What happened to my my thing? That's pretty slow.
It's quite a commitment for the audience to stay for an hour.
That's in the.
Can you just hang on a minute? I'm going to prove it to you.
Module thing.
It's made for the streaming era. You know, we all stream stuff now. You go away, you have your dinner, you come back, and an hour later, I know where the LFO should be. After an hour, it better be there.
You'll just hear that drone synth sweep. Just hang on, maybe I can do it.
Probably can. That's already too fast.
But just imagine that over an hour.
Yeah, over an hour. Yes.
Anyway.
Yeah, Triple Sloth has a mode where you can do an hour for a full sweep of a waveform. So,
Andy, did you find out if that little box is just something that they've shown as a render, or is that something that you can get for it, or because I know it's a Euro module, right?
I'm assuming just from what I saw briefly that it came that way, and then you could take it out and put it in your rack if you want to. So,
wow. Okay.
But, we mentioned Batumi. Another cool thing, the same company that makes Batumi is Zadar. So they have really powerful features in Zadar to compete with something like this. But this has it's more beautiful. It has the touch interaction, which is cool, and so it's a different beast altogether. But Zadar is no slouch.
I mean, Batumi is about the same price as this. That's the kind of point I was trying to make. If I remember rightly, it's kind of around the $300-ish US mark. Might be slightly cheaper, but let's not pinch at little tiny semantics.
The only thing to sacrifice, of course, is HB. It's wider. So
yeah, for a big beautiful interface, you got to pay an
always,
HP. So
I got to say, you just get a bigger rack.
Yeah. Now Darren's not here,
or keep it standalone.
And the next one was going to be done by Daren. So maybe we might come back to it. Because I think he'll probably want to show that one, actually, because it's right down his little park bench alleyway. And that means that, Andy, you get the next one. So if I skip it, if I go boom, boom, how come it went back like that? That's weird. That is weird.
It really wants to talk about that again.
Boom, boom. Boom. There we go.
There it is, yeah.
So, Andy, over to you again. This is the audio computer beat friend.
Yeah, this looks pretty cool. It's kind of the sound circuit is based on the Roland CR78. They call it a semi-autonomous analog drum machine. And it's has an interesting mix of so it's analog drum circuits, of course, based on similar to CR78. It has over 30 preset rhythms you can muck about with without having to worry about creating your own immediately. And it has sliders for complexity, which is kind of nice to quickly dial in something without having to think about it too much. You're just experimenting stuff, so that's kind of nice. There's an enthusiasm knob, which is funny, controlling how much autonomy the machine has, adding and subtracting notes, things like that. And I like the Triforce effects engine. Like they went to Zelda and got the Triforce effects engine.
I like that. Yeah.
So that's the thing in the corner there. That's the 3 knobs. And so it's clever. It's a mixture of analog and digital effects, which is pretty cool. So you get even more elaborate grooves out of that. MIDI compatibility. It's a mono output, 12-volt DC power, and an actual printed manual. Can you believe that?
I like that, actually.
Shocking. It's rare these days, yeah.
One of the things was to quote Andy, it's like having an enthusiastic robot Labrador playing a 70s electronic drum kit just for you.
Yeah.
I thought that was interesting.
And this is supposed to be, it's not that bad either. It's 424 pounds.
Yeah, 884 Aussie and 789.99 Canadian. These guys are based in the UK. So, but I think for those weird sort of exchange rates that were coming up on their website, I think they based their product in US dollars, and that's why you're getting these kind of nonsensical type amounts. But don't forget too, the Trump tariffs are hitting this one because this is a UK-based product. It's actually cheaper to buy it in Canada than it is to buy it in the US. Interesting. Anyway, what was I going to say? So what kind of spooked me with this, obviously, is 2 things. It's using the twin T circuits. We've talked about the twin T circuits quite a lot in the show, and I'm really starting to dig a lot of the products coming back out with the twin T topology. It's kind of like a resurgence of that. And secondly, this is kind of ballsy because a lot of us synth guys who love drum machines will be like, I want to be able to make my own drum sounds, and I want to, craft and sound design and blah, blah, blah. What this product is, and they don't do this with any apologies, this is actually made for a blend of preset rhythms, and basically you're then going to use a control parameters to manipulate those preset rhythms, like what Andy was saying before. But you get a whole bunch of these sliders and knobs and things that you can then manipulate those presets and the rhythms with. So you're kind of set with stuff, but it's making you play it more as opposed to craft it more. It's more of a drum machine, playing machine than a crafting machine, if that makes sense, which I thought was cool. So yeah, Chris, what do you think? Do you want to have a look at the video first? Do you want to hear it?
Sure, go for it, yeah.
And then maybe comment after that?
It's cool. It has a Dreadbox vibe to it as well. It's the design. So
yeah, does a bit. Massive screen.
I was going to say,
some instant Jean-Michel Jarre with it. So
yeah, it does sound a bit mini pops-ish.
Space Rumba.
Well, it's CR78, right?
Yeah.
This is what I like about it.
Yeah.
Kind of reminds me of that mutable module. I forgot the name of it for the rhythm generation.
Grids?
Grids, that's it. Yeah, that got.
Yeah, kind of like grids, isn't it?
More.
Yeah, it's combined.
More grids, but has more parts to it.
Enthusiasm is kind of like a knob that I should have.
Don't we all need
That's like the talent button.
enthusiasm in the studio?
That's what they're telling me. See, boundless enthusiasm. I like that.
I'm just waiting to see what the jazz is. Does it bring out its own jazz hands?
Herbie jumps in and plays the Odyssey.
Or does it start playing out of time?
Oh, it's allowed to. It's jazz.
That's all right. Wrong.
Yeah, it's like Blondie.
Yeah.
Yeah, very.
Don't ask me to sing it.
Or Roxy Music.
Here we go. Here's the Triforce.
You have to do this, so you hold the Triforce, you have to hold it up. And...
Yeah. You get some really interesting sounds out of this.
It's cool they mixed analog and digital, so you get more flavors.
Interesting.
This is where it really started to poke me. You almost need a friend with Beat Friend to slide the sliders while you're mucking around with the Triforce.
Yeah. Two-person job, you reckon?
Yeah.
I didn't see the back of the unit, but it'd be nice if they had individual outs for the drum sounds.
Yeah, it would be, but
Mono output
doubt it.
is the
Yeah.
output on the back.
Yeah. That would be a Rev 2 kind of request.
Yeah. Anyway, you guys get the idea, right? Geez, we watched about 3 minutes of that video. That's how hooky it was. But do you know what I mean? It's a very simple looking thing.
Yeah.
But just the amount of complexity that you can get out of it, I think, is kind of where it goes.
Yeah, what's cute about it is that it's kind of got a bit of a modular essence or ethic in it, that they borrowed the whole sort of those sliders, I'm thinking, remind me of a few modules where it's very common for people in modular to take a rhythm and mask it through some kind of busyness and sparseness algorithm and get different rhythms out the other end. And it's sort of like a very common thing to do in modular, but you don't often see it in desktop units, so I kind of like that. And then the aspect of making it restricted, of course, is a classic creative technique, isn't it? And he said it takes a bit of balls to do it these days, but it is still very much a valid, artistic and artistic philosophy to have some limitations and then forcing yourself to be creative in a different way. Because it's all very good to have all the options and all of the drum tweaking and all that kind of stuff, but sometimes creativity doesn't need all that freedom. It needs some restrictions. So this is kind of finding inspiration in that. So yeah, I kind of dig it too. But it did make me think, do we remember the Seb Song CR78 module a couple of weeks ago? It was also CR78, and it also had fixed patterns. It was modular. I believe this one has MIDI. You said it has MIDI?
Yeah.
I think this one has MIDI.
Yeah.
Obviously the module, the Seb Song module, doesn't have MIDI. So I thought that was a difference. But yeah, the way the sliders are not quite. It's similar in a way to what Seb Song have done. So it's funny, isn't it, how trends have kind of all these different companies seem to going down the same roads in the same year.
Collectivity, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's just
the highest
maybe
minds.
it just shows you. Well, it just shows you what maybe it's just global cross pollination in action.
Yeah, I would like to see something like this mixed with something like a TR-8S or something like that has so many different drum engines in it. So you have all this control over the groove and over the different rhythms, but with all these different sound choices.
Yeah. again, this is the whole, you get a module that does that. It's often what people do to build what you're saying.
The CR78 would get old really fast for me. I like them, but I don't use them that much. So
yeah. Maybe
All
they'll
right.
make a module version.
Well, that's Beat Friend.
Which is the...
I don't know. Does it make you want to beat your friend? I'm not sure. We should keep going. This is probably why I don't have anyone viewing. Right.
It's like the old saying: you can pick your friends, you can pick your nose, but you can't pick your friend's nose. So.
Well, that's what
That's great.
my mother-in-law sings. Everybody knows Ranzee picks his nose. Anyway, we should go on with the... this was for you, Chris, this one.
Okay, yep.
Do you actually know a little bit about this? Putting you
I
on the
know a
spot?
little bit about this, yes.
Okay.
It's a, this is a delay unit.
Indeed it is.
Now, this is a delay unit that is using the fairly well-known PT2669 IC. Sorry, PT2399 IC.
That's the one.
Which I have in one of my modules, one of the earliest modules I ever bought. It's kind of an sort of early 80s digital delay system that was kind of in between kind of what we got now and bucket brigade delays. So it's kind of a hybrid. It's a chip with sort of like, it's got 50% analog stuff in it and 50% digital stuff. Very early digital. So of course it's really, really crunchy. Quite a low bit rate, or it's kind of a bit more complex than that. It uses a different kind of encoding system than good old PCM to compress a bit more information in the chip. But basically what they've done here is they've basically put it in a module, put two of them in a module, if I recall. Is that right, Rance? Is it two of them or just one of them? I think it's two of them, because quite often they have a limited, a bit like BBDs, they have a limited amount of delay time. So you quite often want to put two of them in. And
It has
put
a pretty
in all
decent delay time.
Yeah, putting in all of the good stuff that you like having to do modulation and stuff like that, so you can, you can use it to do flanging and sort of pseudo phasing. Sort of, you can put it into carpal strong type territory, like any sort of delay, I guess. But it's basically because I guess the point of difference here is that it's based on this old sounding chip, so it's not quite digital and it's not quite analog, or BBD, so it's kind of in between. That's pretty much all I can remember, other than reading out some of the specifications, which, if I can find them.
Can I just mention one thing before you're doing that?
Yes.
Actually,
I don't have any.
The chip itself is probably why they've chosen it. So there was a couple of little kind of tweaks to the chip that you could do that made it a bit different.
Yeah.
One of the things is as a standard, it was 30 milliseconds to 350 milliseconds for the delay, but and that's the factory standard. But apparently, you can push it to somewhere between 500 to 600 milliseconds, and it kind of goes into this lo-fi delay kind of really crunchy sort of sound.
Yeah,
and that's one of the things that people like about it, because it actually becomes now a digital delay that gets crunchy.
Yes. So as I said, it kind of goes into BBD territory, but not quite, because it has that the way it encodes the digital data allows it, if you starve it of clock cycles, it starts to degrade, and it degrades in a non-linear way, which can make it sound very, very crunchy and quite psychotic. If I recall from my PT2399, it can get just noise at the bottom settings. One of the things about it, of course, is that window where it goes from just a delay to complete mayhem is very, very tiny electrically. So a lot of the modules over the years have been trying to work out how to get that area out so that you can have more control of it. I dare say this is what they've probably concentrated on getting to here.
Yeah. The interesting thing, it's got the two speeds, which would say to me it's got the two chips. And one of the things I was kind of intrigued about was I know Intellijel C-Legs modeled their delay after 3 different delays. So obviously one was tape, one was a BBD, but there was also a digital part. You can flick it between the 3 on the switch. And I've always wanted to know what the digital modeling was. I have a feeling it might be a nod to this, because you can get this real crunchy sort of lo-fi sounds out of the C legs.
When you go to the extremes of one of the settings, it starts degrading and
squealing
and doing
color.
stuff,
There's a color thing where you can change it, and it gets real bit crushy, which I felt was kind of like a very similar thing to this. Anyway, do you guys want to hear it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have to.
Because we can. Ooh, might have missed a few tricks with that video, unfortunately, but yeah, not too bad though. I felt like I was not hearing the lo-fi stuff, and I also felt that
it wasn't brilliantly isolated, was it? They kind of said in context. Yeah, we kind of like to be able to hear at least a little snatch of what it sounds like isolated as well.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you're just locking it into a particular genre of sound, and what if your audience isn't into that? But you could certainly hear that it, at the beginning with the longer delay times is very, very muddy.
Yeah.
Because it's that kind of clocking situation.
Also, a quick pop-up of what you're tweaking, like a little overlay of like, here's, some text coming on screen to say, oh, now we're adjusting this, now we're adjusting this. So you know what to listen for.
Yeah. I think for me, where it actually did start to sound really interesting was with the modulation knob. I kind of felt like it was kind of a bit concrete-y, because that's one of the things that delay, like especially digital delays, had in the early digital era. They had this kind of like a concrete delay, reverby sort of feel to it, and it kind of just really became a little bit clinical, a bit like a hospital ward. But then he put the modulation in it, and it kind of gave it movement, and I kind of felt like I'm hearing things bouncing now, and it's kind of alive now. And that was nice.
I totally agree. The modulation is what brings the PT 2399 to life.
Did he touch the delay knob in that video? The actual big fat knob at the top, which says, if I had that, I'd be touching that first. I'm just having a look. Did he actually touch it?
Halfway through. Did he?
I don't reckon he did.
Okay.
Mate, why are you not?
It seemed like he had, but that was probably...
Maybe his hand was in the way? No, it didn't move at all. I'm actually looking at the position...
It must have been the modulation. Depending on the modulation, caused the delay to start moving to a different area.
It was kind of, I don't know, about 4 o'clock the whole way through the video.
Okay.
So, did we get a price? We did, didn't we? No, we didn't. No price on this.
No, we don't have a price, and we don't even have specs. It's very much a first look.
Yeah.
From them.
Not even on
So
Modular
we want
Grid,
to
I
hear
think.
more.
Yeah.
Yes,
True Modular have
more.
done some good stuff before, though. The Replicant VCF I thought was pretty cool. I have checked that out before, and there's a shape moddy thing he's done that I liked as well, but that was more like a utilities module. And he's done a VCO, I forget the name of it now. Elisa or something. I think it was modeled after the Commodore Amiga or something. I forget now anyway. There's some interesting things that he does anyway.
There's the Elisa VCF, the Elisa VCO, replicant ADSR. That's sounding a bit like influenced by the CS80, doesn't it?
It does a bit, doesn't it?
Replicant, Blade Runner.
Yeah.
Reference
Could be.
there. I don't know about Elisa.
Maybe the VCO
Elisa's a Russian synth, isn't it? Isn't Elisa a Russian synth?
Yeah, it could be.
Sounds familiar.
Could be.
Yeah.
Chris, the next thing for you will be an obvious one, and I know that you've definitely checked this out, so you probably won't need to have gone and researched it, and that is this Rick Modular time slice. Am I right?
Yes.
I thought you would have checked it out. You're an owner of Rick Modular, so I'm pretty sure
I
you
am.
had you.
I do own some Rick Modular. So it's always interesting when he brings out something new. Well, what do we have here? We have a slicer, kind of, not exactly granular, but kind of granular. Again, it's Rick style, so it's all about CVs, pretty much. Mm-hmm. It's got 4 decks, if I recall. It's got 4 different loops that you can alter. It's got quite a few number of seconds in it. It's like quite a large number of seconds, if I recall. And the other thing is it's very much been designed to do sort of it's very good at doing sort of time stretching work. So it's kind of like pull stretch territory at one extreme and sort of breaks and stuff like that. It's really good at stretching those because he's used a pitch shifting algorithm from the H9000 or H3000, sorry, which was a eventide unit. Was very big in the 80s, one of the original pitcher and harmonizers. So he's got some good. He's dug up some good code and pulled out some research. So which he's usually quite good at doing. So yeah, it's quite cool. The LEDs, I'm always into minds when it comes to his excessive use of LEDs, but this one's actually quite good in that you do get quite a good visual representation of what each deck is doing, because you get a pattern that's sort of like a waveform swirling around in the style, or sort of according to how you've set the controls. It's a little bit menu divey for my taste, with that little display again. And it's always tricky when someone's trying to demo something that complicated, but you definitely get the sense of, oh, I'm going to need to pull out that manual. And I have to admit, with my other Rick Modular, which is the Knight Rider, I definitely, every time I pretty much turn that on, I have to pull out the manual again. Very good, very nicely printed manual. Another printed manual, guys. He always does a great job.
Can't go wrong with that.
Yeah, very nice. But, it's built like a tank. It's got 4 decks, and quite a long sample time. I can't remember exactly. I think it's something like 250 seconds. 2 minutes, sorry. Each deck has
2 to 3 minutes.
Here. Yeah. So maybe we should have a listen to it, because he kind of goes into the time stretching aspect of it, which I thought was kind of cool. Does reversing.
Don't know if I can show it because it's
you don't have this
Sonic.
one. Yeah, of course not, because it's a Sonic State.
It's a Sonic State. But
so, apologies.
That's okay. One thing I want to say is this guy is so funny when he does his marketing blurbs, right? Have a listen to this. More jacks than you can shake a stick at to trigger or modulate anything you care to automate. Not Swiss made, but keeps impeccable time and can play with friends with MIDI and clock sync. Includes an exciting, funky red circle display thing at no extra cost.
Yes.
I love that.
Well, so he's got a sense of humour.
He does.
That's for sure. Yeah.
If you're wondering about that circle thing, Chris, I think it's each circle is one of the channels, right? So there's 4 circles.
Each circle is a deck or a channel.
Yeah.
He calls them channels. I'm just using different terminology because my head's full of another product. Where they use the word deck. But yeah, and the LEDs are actually, it doesn't really show it there, but they're in variable intensity depending on how loud the signal is. So it is like showing a waveform.
Right.
In a fairly, it's modulated red LEDs can only express so much, I guess. But yeah, I can see how you would get, you'll be able to work out when something's about to come through on a deck and turn something down or something up. You'll be able to take some cues from it. And it does look quite pretty when it goes around.
So the T1 is kind of like a is that like a configurable CV control within the menu, or is that a specific thing? The T2 I thought was also like a macro, and then you've got the attenuators or attenuators on the M1s.
Yeah, so the T1 I think is dedicated to time, but you can lock whether you wanted to lock the pitch or not. So depending on how you set it, you can get pitch changes out of it, or time changes out of it, or both. The second one, the T2M2, yeah, that one's configurable as to what it does. I think you can do one or the other.
Yep. So for me, I feel like what's
fidelity is the other thing I might mention.
What's
pretty high fidelity for.
Yeah, I was going to say, because they're using the Eventide algorithms. Yeah. So what I was thinking is, what is the big deal with this is that it's real time. So you've got your modular set up, and you've got all your stuff plumbed in through. Yeah, I know you did. Plumbed in through the input. So you've got 4 different separate inputs. So you might have a sequence going through one. You might have a triggered drum sound going through another. All of this stuff is real time. So in and out, and then you can plumb it back through your mixer. This thing is built so that you can manipulate those audio signals coming in and out, and then loop them. And what did he call it? A big fat rolling buffer is kind of his terminology.
Yeah, the length is kind of important.
Yeah,
because that was sort of the style of the work that he was doing. But he was in his demo, he was definitely showing stuff that was already on the SD card on one deck, and live stuff that was coming in. He was playing a kalimba. Like, I think this is a universal live audio testing tool at Superbooth, I believe. So SD card for recording, actually storing what you do, or pulling back samples. Lovely big data wheel. I haven't seen one of those for a while. It's probably just
it's almost like the PoliN.
Well,
tracker,
yes,
isn't
it is a bit. It is a bit, but it's got the little dimple for your finger is always a fun thing.
Yeah. A bit like a Roland.
But so I think here it's because it's up to his usual standards, so it's kind of quite built like a tank, very compactly. It won't be that deep, I'll tell you that, because he packs stuff into those modules, and the fidelity will be very high because he was obviously going for something a bit cleaner, I think, than what a lot of loopers and stuff are really at. There's a lot of choices at the moment in the market for kind of gritty, grainy stuff, but there's a bit less, in the sort of less popular anyway, I think.
For me, I kind of
that could be cool.
So going further to what I was saying before, I kind of I like to relate things to other things that I've touched over the years. Obviously, we can nod to some non-Eurorack stuff that's can relate to, but in Eurorack, I was thinking the IRA Roland Scooper, which is that scatter module, because this can do kind of pitch shifty, sort of granularly, sort of filters and feedbacks and stuff as well on the fly. But the thing that I never liked about the Scooper is that you had to record. It kept all the beats in sync and everything, which was actually kind of cool. And if you're clever, you can make it look like you're doing it live with the Scooper module, but you're really not. You're recording something that's come in and then playing it back. I was kind of just really keen to know. This is the same, right? You're recording something through the buffers, and then it's looping those buffers. So I'm not sure how that works with the mix wet and dry of the original audio coming through. That was kind of where I was sort of a bit confused.
Is it behind a loop or is it behind a slice? I couldn't quite work that out myself.
Yep.
It seemed fairly. It's hard to tell because when your camera's moving all over the place and he's turning things and the camera's looking somewhere else, and it's very hard to convey that from a video. But it's probably could be buffer, could be slice. Maybe you can set what the latency you want is, and you get different kind of performance. I'll tell you what this kind of reminded me of. It kind of reminded me of sort of old ACIS 9000 time stretching. That's what it reminded me of.
Yeah.
It's kind of more in that area of sort of, fidelity. It's sort of the late 80s type vibe, as opposed to more the tape area where looping is very popular with tape. That's kind of 70s, 60s. So this is very much, seems to have its heart in the 90s, early noughties.
All right. Well, did we give price?
Price is $535, I assume, US dollars.
Yeah. That's on Modular Grid too, so I'm guessing that's pretty accurate. Yeah.
And then he'll probably have a special soonish, if he didn't already have one for Super Booth.
All right, so the next one is also with you, Chris.
Okay.
I don't want to have that audio playing. You will definitely... We mentioned this last week. This is the
PoliMaths?
Make Noise PoliMaths. Do you know much about this?
It's, you know what? It was like the first video. I made sure it was the first video I saw at the beginning of Super Booth, which means it's the furthest away in my memory from the last 20, 45 videos that I've watched.
Let me just read this.
So,
it's only like one or two sentences, and then you can go from here.
Yeah.
It's an 8-channel function generator. It's a bit of a shitty graphic. Sorry, guys. Basically, it does have similar features to maths, but then it adds to it with an oscillator modulation control. There's also a span control to scan through the 8 channels. So this is kind of like, there's a round robin feature as well, which takes a gate input and it can scan across. They're talking about this Make Noise NUS, the new Universal Sound System. So this is his all-encompassing invention. I call it Make Noise 3.0 personally, because it's kind of like their new sort of idea.
It's their new philosophy.
Yeah.
Yeah, design philosophy. Yeah.
It means that you can actually, with this NUS thing, I'm kind of getting hints now to what it actually means. It means that you can actually have multiple PoliMaths connected to each other, and they can communicate to each other through... There's a little connection up the top. It's hard to see on here. It's the top right-hand corner, and you can see where the pink cable is that's connecting the two PoliMaths together in the graphic. And actually make it a little bit bigger for you guys. It's a little blurry because I just did a screenshot off YouTube. But you can see there's like 2 PoliMath modules, and it's connected to each other. And he does, in the video, which is another Sonic State one, he does show how one PoliMath is manipulating the other. All right.
Yeah.
Off you go.
So we all know what the original maths was. So it's got the same kind of philosophy over, attack, rise and fall and stuff like that. But they've added more stuff. But the main aspect of it is that it's kind of this 8-channel version of it. So once again, it's a bit like taking a maths module and kind of squishing it down and putting it into the module on its side and putting 8 of them together, and then to resolve the issue of how do I control 8 different things, they've had, well, you just have one set of controls, and then you have 1 or 2 morphing controls that causes those 8 different maths modules to deviate from each other in different ways. One of those, as Rant's mentioned, is a simple scanning through them. So if you have 8 of them doing slightly different things, because that's what the spread control is set to, when you scan through them using one of the CVs, you're going to get slightly different results from each one. This is very much in the same vein as the rest of basically all the stuff that they've been bringing out lately, which is plug in 8 things and go to town. It's kind of an experiment. Play with it, and then you'll find that when you find something you like, you can actually reproduce it every time, because it's a simple CV control. It's just a matter of how you set those CV controls, how you animate those CV controls, and you can lock those kind of things down quite easily. But if you just need 2 control voltages that need to go in a particular way and repeatably every time, you can kind of manage that in a modular system pretty easily. So by breaking it down to something simple to control it, in the performance aspect of it. What they've done is they've created all of this, distributed system of different sort of sounds coming from the one module controlled in a manner that you're kind of familiar with. So particularly if you know your maths module, everything will be quite familiar to you, I imagine. So it is kind of cool, but it is maths, but it's not really maths. I can kind of see why they made it PoliMaths, but I'm kind of not sure if that was the greatest idea to keep the maths in the name. But given that it's something we all know so well, sure if it was the best choice, but that's neither here nor there. They did say that it was going to be between, I think I said it was going to be between 400 and 500. Oh, 535. Okay.
I think that's a typo.
US dollars.
I think that's a typo.
You reckon that's a typo? It looks like a copy and paste from the previous article.
I think it might have been.
Yeah. I thought he said between 400 and 500 euro. No, it would have been US, wouldn't it? It would have been between 400 and 500 US.
So let's just go 500. I'll just update that.
I'd say so, yeah. It should be.
One of the things that
other
confused
modules.
me, and I guess we're going to have to wait and see this, because this is just really, they've said it's not going to be available for a little while yet, is how do you access the AR for each of the 8 channels? That kind of was a little confusing.
Yeah, no, the thing is that it isn't that philosophy of independent control, it's collective control. This is their idea, is that they take something, the problem being, how do I control 8 different things? The answer is you need to let go of some of that control and allow the decisions made in the module that you can tweak, because you can change the way that sort of, the smart assistant, as it were, to go in there, and it varies things in a way that's musically useful, would be their sales pitch for that. Now, whether you agree with that, their choices is we're gonna have to wait and see, aren't we? See if it's something we agree with or don't. A lot of people do seem to resonate with their decisions. I just noticed, so I would not sniff at their credentials for making decisions on like that. On what's the best way to give expressive control to a musical performance. But it's horses for courses. It might not gel with you, the decisions they made. But it's definitely not like a macro maths. Yeah. At all. I don't think it's very much in the same style. If you look at the other modules that they brought out in this line, you'll see they're all. If you look closer at them, you'll see that that you can't. It's like the LFO one, you can't actually set the individual LFOs. You set the spread and decide how much the spread's going to influence the speed of the LFOs, and et cetera, et cetera. And there's the other one as well. I think they did another one as well, because they've been releasing so much stuff lately. The other one's very similar. Oh, the one that switches, the one that's combining and switching different things. Again, I have to admit that one did have, if I recall, it did have pots on each individual one, so you could do some individual control of 8, but that's because there was only a switcher mixer only has a very simple CV function for its switching and mixing, whereas here, as you rightly pointed out, we're talking about quite a lot of controls for a make noise math, and they've had to dilute this even further, so they have to be a bit more aggressive on the decisions they make. So I think this could be why this is the latest module that they've done, and that it's not ready yet, because I imagine this would be one of the more difficult and challenging modules to try and bring into this new NUSS ecosystem.
I've been working on it for a while. They said in the video. Comments on some of the social media was that there technically is only one math channel in it, technically. So that kind of probably alludes to what you were saying, Chris. So you technically only have one AR control, and then you have to manipulate it with the other fun things that this module's got.
The others get a variance upon it,
Yeah. I mean, one of the things...
So it's more like the one they have called function that's a partial maths, so...
Well, no, a function is like a single channel maths, right?
It's two. I think it's two channel. No,
it's
because I have one, but I haven't used it for a while.
Maths is 2 channels, plus it's got the 2...
Is it 2? I thought it was 4.
No,
Okay.
it's 2, and it's got 2
it's 2.
attenuators. So function is 1 channel with 1 attenuator.
Shows how much I use mine. So
No, but the thing is, for me, I wouldn't look at this as a maths.
That's why I said, yeah.
The whole poly word is probably more the key to this. So to me, this is more like, don't get sort of clued up in the polyphonic world and understanding it's not playing chords and things like that, right? To me, this is more like polyphonic handling of envelope control or gate control, modulation, yeah. So to me, that's the exciting part of it, and for me, it's a no-brainer. This is an insta-buy, definitely an insta-buy, because when you think about it, when Make Noise brought out Maths, they've had a lot of success with it. It was like, I think they said it was like 2007 or 2009 or something. It's a long time ago.
Yeah.
15
20
years.
years
maybe.
or something.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
15, maybe 15.
Yeah, I think maybe 15 years.
I think he said 15.
It's based on the Surge, originally it's based on the Surge
Yeah.
Buchla stuff, right? So you'd think they'd have a bit of knowledge about what they would have liked to have done with it by now. And it's interesting what they've come up with. Yeah. That jumbler's in that little shot 2 down the bottom. So that was the module they released only just a week ago or 2 weeks ago. We showed it on the show. The jumbler's also in the video. He shows it. And also the multi-mod's the one they released a couple of weeks before that as well.
Yeah, that's the other one. Yep.
So, there's 3 now that are part of this new NUS, Universal Sound System topology that he's got. Interesting. See where it goes. I guess we're watching.
Yep.
Now, there was a whole stack of stuff coming up next that we're going to be for Daren and Ian. I might do the next 2, and then Andy, you'll be doing the last one, and then if Daren gets here in time, he can do the 2 that I really wanted him to do, and I hope he's going to turn up. If not, I'll have to take over. Okay, so the next one is this baby. It's from Intellijel. It's called the Jellymix. This should be a pretty basic one to show you. This is just a mixer. It's not anything exciting, but Intellijel wanted to have a desktop mixer that they could sell that's part of their ecosystem. I mean, they've done their own video on it, but I don't really know if it's worth showing, to be fair. Anyway, what can I tell you? It's a 5 stereo channels with 1/4 inch TRS balance jack inputs, 2 stereo return inputs with A and B buses. This is the bit that's interesting. I guess maybe a little closer look at this when I'm talking is going to help you guys understand it. Typical Intellijel, beautiful little switch knob type. I love their designs.
Gee, those switches look familiar.
Mm-hmm. I love this stuff. It just makes you want to toggle, right? Makes you want to toggle away.
Yeah.
Each channel has its own gain pot and a mute switch. Muted channels are routed to a mute bus that can serve for a Q or a PFL audition, which I thought was actually really cool. Each channel also has 2 auxiliary sends, and they're 2 stereo auxiliary sends, I should say, which is switchable between pre and post. And that's something a lot of little mixers don't have, the pre and post, by the way. Always handy to have.
Yeah. It's very nice.
Each channel also has a tilt EQ and a low cut filter switch. So I don't know if you guys are familiar with tilt EQs. They're on a few things out there, but they're kind of like, it's kind of like to me, the best way to describe it, it's kind of like the tone knob on your old stereo system that you had a long time ago in the 1970s.
Tilt EQs, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like having the bass and treble, but they're connected to each other with an elastic band.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like a tone knob. Each channel can either be routed directly to the main mix or via a stereo main filter bus as well. So it does have a little bit of coolness about the way it can route stuff to buses and things, A and B bus, that is. So yeah, price-wise, I thought it was pretty reasonable, TBA, but they're aiming, he said in the video, for $650 US. So pretty reasonable for a 5 stereo, just 10 channel if you want to split hairs, plus 2 stereo send and returns. Pretty pretty decent sort of mixing bass anyway. How it sounds, it's is it analog? Don't know. Doesn't say. How it sounds. You can go check out the videos in Super Booth. I don't know if it really showcases the mixer though, to be honest.
No. I guess people at the booth may have experienced it by putting the headphones on.
Yeah. So we'll move on.
Everything was going through it. If I recall, everything had been going through it.
Well, yeah. Actually, let's show that. Because that's a good point. Yeah. Everything was going through it. There is he or someone. Whoops. There it is. There you can see. That's their. By the way, that's their new case. Their new 7U case.
Yeah.
I didn't bring that up on the show because I don't know if I had time. But there is actually something cool about that case. I should mention while we got it, and that is that you can move the 1U rail on it.
Oh, that is cool. Because I have a bunch of the original 7Us. I love the 7U cases. And
also they got rid of the annoying side thing. You know that annoying side thing on the 7U case which got in the way? So now it's kind of like it's all kind of cleaner. Put inside. So those you can see those little cutouts along the side of it.
Recessed.
That's the word I'm looking for.
Yeah, so you don't knock them on the way.
You don't get it caught on your tie.
On your clothes.
On your zipper.
On someone's cable. Oh no, I just killed Daren T.
Dear me. I just got myself in trouble now. Right. I mean,
but
Andy,
it's a shame that Ian wasn't here because it's the Jellymix and he likes the jelly wrestlers. So
well, guess who that was allocated to?
Yeah,
it wasn't Ian. It was allocated to Daren.
Because the EMOM could be a good
desktop size. I mean, you saw the size of it's tiny. The thing's, a couple of water bottles wide. It's a tiny little thing. Yeah. Anyway, what else do we have? Next is this thing, the Vermona. This was allocated to Ian because I know he would have loved this. This thing is super interesting, eh? This thing's only just come out as a, we're in the middle of building this. It's not quite ready yet.
Yeah.
That type of, regime. But they're definitely going to be releasing it. That's the kind of the thing that I got out of this. So I'm just going to get a synth anatomy video from Tom up to show this one. But quickly, let me tell you a couple of things. From face value, one of the things that surprised me was this is not an analog drum machine that Vermona always do, right? Where you've got an analog drum and then you've got, the sound design of that drum voice, and then you can, set it and you can start sequencing it and things like that. What this is kind of interesting. This is an analog drum voice with a sampler and a sequencer. And how you use it is you make your sounds with the analog drum voice and you then sample those sounds into the sampler. And just hear me out because it sounds a bit, what? That's a bit stupid. No. Then from that, it stores all the samples on your SD card, which you can use in other gear as well if you want. You can store up to 16 samples in a project, and you can store up to 64 projects. Each project has 6 tracks with up to 64 steps. Each step can have parameter locks. There are internal effects like delays, reverb, bit crusher, etc. So there's a whole bunch of cool stuff in here. But the thing that was cool was that when you sample your analog drum sound that you've just created, it had some smarts with the sampling engine that it used, the way that you would get, if you got a drum sample, you would then have to clip it so that the start was at the right spot and the end was at the right, it fixes all that for you already in the algorithm. So it knows that if it's a kick, it's going to do that, bang, bang, bang. And that's one of the things that I noticed straight away. He was sampling stuff and it was going straight into it, and he was then playing that drum sample straight away, but it was not the analog thing playing, it was the sample that was playing.
Yep.
And then you could manipulate that. So when you get get your ego out of it and think, I wanted an analog drum machine that I can muck around with. Well, you do, but you are now sampling it. And I thought, is this unique? I mean, it's kind of unique.
It's unique execution, but I can't say it's a unique idea.
I mean, we all do this, right? This is what I'm saying. We all do this. We all sample stuff, and then put it into our drum machines. And these guys have gone, well, why don't we just give you the analog drum machine voice, and then you can sample that, and it's all built in, and it's got all the smarts to help you sample it better, and basically
integrated.
I thought it was clever. I honestly feel this is going to be successful, this thing. I really do. Anyway, no price, obviously, because it's still in beta or alpha or whatever it is.
It's going to be expensive.
Ideas?
He said, they said, oh, this is going to be pricey, you know.
Oh, yeah, German made. Yeah. He's German, isn't he?
You know, it's handmade in Germany and blah, blah, blah. It's like, ooh, okay. So, Ian may not be able to afford it, but I'm sure he'd love it.
Oh, but look at this. I'll just show you guys this. Doesn't this look beautiful?
Yeah.
It's really, really nice looking, you know.
It's quite nice.
I'm
not too sure about the grey buttons with the LEDs and that. It's never been a huge fan of that look, but yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
I like
just
looks
the
well built.
LEDs.
They make good stuff, so.
Oh, yeah, it'll be lots of.
I like it. I think it's cool. Yeah, I think it's a winner. Vermona, send me one. I'll check it out.
You might have to buy a Vermona, Rants. Just wait for my my little How's It Weekly segment.
I know. Don't say too much, because shush, exactly. This one's for you, Andy. This was the Moss 101. Do you remember me giving you that one?
Yeah, I have it here. Yeah. It's funny, right off the top of my head, just when I first glanced at this, other than the color, it gave me SH32 vibes. So it's kind of funny, the kind of layout and the button choice and stuff. It's kind of funny, but yeah, this is a virtual analog monosynth. So you get your classic subtractive synthesis with very, very tactile with all the buttons and so forth, and a little guitar pedal type enclosure. So it's portable.
Yeah.
Daren's not here, but it's park bench compatible, it seems. So maybe with a power bank or something. It has 26 buttons and an encoder, so you can, dial in quite a bunch of stuff with it on the fly. And they got to fit it in a small package, so it makes sense. They're not going to have tons of knobs and stuff on there. But it says it's a 42 parameter virtual analog engine, which is quite extensive, especially for something so small. So that's kind of nice, actually. And it's very easy to follow the signal flow the way that's laid out.
Yeah.
With the LEDs and such. So it's a cool looking thing, and it has MIDI learn functionality, so it makes it a little easier to interact with other devices that you have. It's not just a little standalone device that's an island. And it says you can do up to 17 user presets.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty good on a portable device like that. And has 26 LEDs to help you communicate signal flow, modulation, all kinds of stuff. So it gives you a lot of feedback with what it's got in a small package. So I haven't heard it yet, but it does look pretty cool. So.
Yeah, and the thing for me was 150 Canadian dollars through the early bird Kickstarter special. I don't know how many is left with that. That is really cheap. But I thought, just off the top of my head, this looks very educating for people who want to learn a little bit about analog signal flow, analog synthesis, signal flow. I thought it was quite clever with the lines and the LEDs, and as you tweak things, those LEDs change. I can show you in the video, actually. There's a little video. I don't know where it's gone. There.
Hello. I'm going to give a quick demonstration on how I made the last sound in my Kickstarter video. And I'm going to start by going into drone mode and closing off the filter. And I'm actually going to switch to bandpass filter. And I'm going to send the envelope to control the filter cutoff. That's what that sounds like. And next I'll send the LFO to trigger the envelope. Now I'm going to put the LFO into random mode and send it to control the pitch. So we get these random notes on each trigger. And I'm also going to send the LFO to the cutoff, so higher notes open up the filter a little. And I'll turn up the resonance. Good. Now I'll just speed it up.
I think that'll do. You guys can go check the rest of it out. I'm nasty.
Yeah, it's cool.
I'm nasty. I think that's pretty cool. The Moss name, I couldn't work that out, but I wonder if it is a little nod to the old Commodore days with the Moss chips.
Oh, Moss chip, yeah.
Yeah.
Could be.
Not sure.
It's the /0, so...
Andrew John March is the guy's name, by the way. So I don't think that's anything to do with... It's not an acronym of his name or anything.
Well, Moss is also the Korg technology too, right? The Moss boards.
Yeah, it is too. Could be that. Could be that.
Metal oxide.
It could be that too.
Silica.
Yeah.
Silica.
Yeah.
Can't remember.
This is the...
Whoa. Let's not do that.
Do you think it has MOSFETs in it?
2 S's. It probably will. If it's using an ARM chip, that's Moss technology.
Indeed.
Yes. Has anyone noticed how great virtual analog sounding these days? They're just banging out stuff left, right, and center. No, we don't. We seem to have seen. It's goodbye to the days of anyone using their little devices and arms and stuff like that, having oscillators that sound less, more digital and not particularly analogy and vibey, and nothing overdrives properly, and all that seems to be over now.
Sounding.
I think, I think the libraries are getting out there now, and people are going to these oscillators that have this analog vibe to them.
Mm.
Yeah, the early Arduino stuff was really rough.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like it seems to have gotten to the point now, I think, where everyone's just going, well, I'll just go onto the internet and get the best sounding oscillators for my, my little virtual analog device. And I'm making it's like, sweet, we live in a good times.
Well, plus you get companies like Signed Vibes and other companies doing those little things for the Korg
API
stuff. Yeah, very cool.
Yeah. As I said, we seem to have gone. There used to be. Occasionally, Rand shows us a DIY project. We're just going, oh yes, he hasn't really learnt about the right libraries for emulating analog, has he? But it's not happening as much as it used to. It's getting less and less and less, and now so much stuff is just coming out. Already sounds yeah. That's what I'm saying.
All right, let's talk about this. Darren's not here, so I'm just going to say, well, stuff you, Darren.
He did turn up in the chat and just said, I will get here, just running a little behind. That's right. He can do 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, he can do the one that I want him to do, which is really important for him to do. I'll do this one. Look, I have to apologize. I haven't researched this as much as maybe Darren has, and maybe he can comment on this in a sec anyway, but this is, I don't know how you say, is this TÉRN? I'm sure the guy will tell us.
It reminds me of, CERN as in the
it's
Center for Atomic Research or whatever it is.
Yeah, but it's TOERN when you actually...
It is O, is it? Okay.
Yeah, it's an O.
It was O or C or a D.
Anyway, what is this? This is a standalone open source sequencer and sampler done by a guy called Jan from SP Control in Hamburg, and it's an evolution of his NI404 prototype that he talks about on his website. But this is a portable interface that combines a bit of fun musical capabilities. So it's kind of like a 16 by 16 RGB LED grid, which you can see there. It's got little controls up the top, which gives you the experimentation with the sequencer.
Yeah.
So it is built for people who are younger. So I will say that. So when you're looking at this is suitable for ages 8 and above. So do
Oh, here looks like a game of Breakout.
do bear that in mind when you're looking at this. It is powerful though. It's a 16-bar pattern, 16-page, 256-bar sequencer with auto save, auto load. It's got real-time sample switching, up to 999 samples in it. 8 sample voices with individual sample trimming. Ooh, excuse me. There's effects like envelopes, bit crushers, flanges, filters, reverbs, intelligent random note generators, which are scale aware, real-time transpose, shift, delete, copy, paste, all that sort of stuff. And there's a bit of sound design stuff in here too, that you can load wave samples via SD card. There's 3 switchable analog style drum voices, a bass drum, a snare, a hi-hat, 1 3-voice synth, 3 oscillators per voice, 2 1-voice synths with 2 oscillators each, and a full effect chain per voice, assignable channel filters, advanced MIDI with MIDI TRS in and out, supports channels 1 to 16, per voice MIDI out assignment. You've got send and receive MIDI clock. The clock does 40 to 300 BPM, if you're wondering. It's a MIT firmware license, which is free for personal and commercial use. So this thing is completely open source. And there's a whole bunch of other stuff in there. He talks about Arduino compatible firmware with the Teensy 4.1. There's a 16 meg PS RAM memory in it as well. And it's powered by USB-C, or you can get an optional LiPo battery thing for it, which gives it about 3 hours of runtime. Let me show you this video. It's not the greatest. I want to admit it's not the greatest, but it does give you an idea.
A Bluetooth speaker, if I recall.
Yeah, it does give you an idea.
Does give you an idea. Particularly the interface. He's playing Frogger.
That's Breakout. Got the paddle going by with the bouncing ball.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Interesting little interface on this. How it's like a dot matrix interface.
Yeah. Very cute.
You see how he turned it diagonally too, like with an Etch-a-Sketch. You turn 2 knobs at once, you get diagonal. So.
Yeah, I did.
So he's entering the sequence now. Can hear people in the background talking.
It's like a mono made out of played with encoders.
It does have MIDI in I don't know if it does take notes via MIDI though, input.
What if you can do ratcheting of the tempo stuff with it? Pretty loud.
The only downside is what happens if some LEDs go down. That's the only downside to it.
Yeah.
It's a bit menu divey. Oh my god.
Yeah. The unnecessary use of rainbow colours would be my only criticism.
But it's smart to use the making the words out of the LEDs. That's like on the circuit. Circuit does that.
Yeah.
Dot matrix, old school.
I think you guys get the idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate that the encoder
Darren-
clicking was louder than the actual
Hi,
music.
Darren.
Park bench compatible, Darren. That's
Yes, it is. Yes, I like to say it's
I love
cute, and if you like lights, it's great. The only reason I said that is because I've got some LED. In fact, let me switch them off. Got
LED
some
panels.
and one of the LED strips has gone in it. So it just made me think, what happens if that happened on this device? That could be a bit of a pain. But it looks fun. I've got to admit, it does look fun, and as it's park bench compatible, I mean, it'd be probably better. Well, I don't know. Would it be good in the would it be good in the sunlight rather than the screen? Probably, maybe.
What's the price again on it? I
I'd
didn't hear the
say.
price.
Don't know.
It's DIY, so you have to
DIY.
build it yourself.
Oh, it is. Okay, right.
Yeah, so
Yes.
yeah, he doesn't
Yeah,
sell
most
any
of
of the
stuff.
parts. Does he? Just said, here's the Mauser bomb.
Yeah.
Here's the SVG files for laser cutting the panel, etc., etc.
Be nice if he approached Thonk or something like that and said, right, you guys make
That's
us a
always
build
a
of
good
this,
move.
and then
Probably
people can buy
will.
it.
Yeah.
You know, Thonk can make a bit of quid from it, and he can make a little bit of a cut or whatever. Darren, I took over some of your news articles because you came in a bit late, mate. Sorry. So we've already done.
No, that doesn't matter because, like I say, I mean, I've not had a chance to look for everything anyway. So
We already done the Jellymix from Intellijel, the mixer. Did you actually have a look at that? Did you want to make a comment about it, or should I? There's one that I really wanted you to do, and that's
is that the
the
control,
Novation.
Novation?
Yeah, because I
Yeah,
think
you
that's
can do the
kind of
Novation.
that's up your alley, isn't it? That one.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
All right, let's go to that. Sorry, I'm going to have to scroll through all these. So we've done all that. We've done that. We've done that. Now we're up to this: the Novation Launch Control XL Mark III. Go for it, Darren.
This is sort of. I would say this is probably. I wouldn't say a long awaited, but it's a nice new revamp of the Mark II, which quite a lot of people liked actually. There was sort of the Mark II, and there was also the Akai Mini Mixer, which was a bit cheaper and a lot more basic. And what they've done here is they've ramped it up because you've not just got USB on the back, you've got 5-pin DIN MIDI, endless controllers with RGBs, which is a lot better. Having said that, some people don't like endless controllers, so yeah, it's I'm on that. Depends what you're using it for, because I've been using some endless controllers and some non-endless controllers, some potential controllers for live, and I find endless controllers can be, depending on what you've got them set to, a little bit of a pain for spinning back. But each to their own. I can't remember what the price was. It was it about $150?
$199 US dollars global. So because of the Trump tariffs, it's more expensive than that in the US. And it's cheaper.
That's probably where I got it mixed up.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also with the added little screen in the top left-hand corner, I don't like, everyone who knows I like bigger screens, but this is just a little screen. This is a little screen so that you don't necessarily have to run through the computer. It's helpful screen, so I'll allow that. Anyone making things, if it's a helpful screen, that's fine. So yes, I mean, you don't necessarily need the software, I think, to run this. You can actually use a little screen, as there's a little picture showing you there, to actually map all your faders, controllers on the actual device, which is a lot nicer. I think it looks quite clean and nice as well compared to the last one. I think it's a bit bigger, not much, but having the five pin MIDI DIN on the back, because it's got quite a few outs. So you've got your USB. I think it might have 2 USB-Cs, 5-pin MIDI outs. So that's much better, because we all like the 5-pin MIDI out, let's face it. I'm running with some TRSs, and as good as they are, I still like the 5-pin MIDI, But this is a great little box, and I would say it would be on my list to put in my live set. So yes, I like this. It's just a great update, basically, and I've been waiting. waiting for them to do updates to the Mark II, and now they have, and I think it's a good update.
Yeah,
definitely worth the money.
So one of the things for me is, I think it's the big thing with this is that it's standalone, which you mentioned, Daren, and that means that you actually don't need a DAW or an app to configure all the mapping. So, like you said, Daren, you can wiggle something.
Yeah, for instance, for me, like running on an old Mac, for instance, and if you've not got up-to-date software and you get a control or something and you need up-to-date software to set everything, it's like, well, there's that buggered. Whereas this, like I say, you don't necessarily need the. I mean, most people have up-to-date.
You're
computers.
not married to a
It's just
computer,
probably, yeah. You're not married to it. That's what I was looking for. Yeah.
So even on top of that,
that's a big update.
Even on top of that, Daren, you can have a hybrid combination with the parameters. So, for example, you can have it controlling external hardware as well as it controlling your DAW in one of your modes, and you can have 15 different custom modes in this as well. So down the bottom, you've got like macro buttons down the bottom. There's 2 rows of them, and they can be configured to do things like, I don't know, mute tracks or launch things, and there's all sorts of stuff that it can do. Kind of, if you did have a laptop or, I don't know, maybe an Akai Force or something like that, you can control bits of it with. This is what I like about it. You're not stuck with, okay, well, I need to go into Ableton mode and then I have to switch back to hardware mode, or you can actually have one mode that does what you want to do. And I thought that was kind of cool. Also, the little OLED display tells you what's going on. It's not the biggest of screens, but I don't think it needs to be. It just needs to be there.
No, like I say,
to let you
this
know.
is just giving you a bit of information, telling you what's going on to the actual product. You're not actually tied to that screen as such. It's not something you have to be delving into every 5 minutes, but it's there just to help you out. The Akai APC64 that I've got, that has a little screen in the bottom right hand corner, which although there's issues with it as how it works, but that's helpful.
Yeah, so you said this is a definite list clogger for you, Daren?
This is for my live setting. Yeah, at the moment I'm using a MIDI mix, Akai MIDI mix, because at the time when I was looking to which one to get, the XL wasn't available, so it had gone off the shelves of Mark II at the time, and that's why I was always hoping they'd bring out a 3. Hence they have now. So this will probably be in a future live rig at some point.
They said it's available now. So in Australia, it's $300, Aussie dollar. In America, it's $229. So remember how I said it's $199.99. So it's street price is $229. It's still pretty good. I mean, the Trump tax is not adding too much to it.
Well, no, I mean I can't remember how much the Mark II was anyway, so it's not far above what that was. I'm sure it wasn't. I'm trying to think. When I got my MIDI mix.
I mean,
MIDI mix is about $75.
$300 is cheap.
Yeah.
For a standalone MIDI controller.
I think the Mark II was about $150, $135, $150. You can get them for.
There are other good standalone controller options too, like Machina Jam and stuff by Fader Fox, and so there are other companies out there making standalone stuff that's very powerful. So.
Yeah. I've got an older launch control. I think it's a Mark 1 or I don't know. I don't use it enough. I'm more of I like to have pads and sliders, not knobs and sliders. So because of the way I like to,
the knobs are good for if you're having them as like your cutoff or your anything. So they're quite interesting that way.
Cool, awesome. That's it, isn't it? Did we get through everything? There was 12 news items this week, guys. 12 news items. Yeah, it is. Why don't we'll take a little break from that and we'll go over to me Hi, me. What we'll do is we'll say, time for a second clue for the synth quiz. Ha-ha! Because you guys want it, don't you? Yeah, of course you do. Why don't we put some pot mapping in there? And I don't mean going down into the secret stash in the bush and taking a little clipping and finding out where you
California
actually...
allowed to pot mapping. So
Shopping.
I don't mean that,
for
boys.
mushrooms.
Ah, dear. Darren, I'm gonna fix you. Don't worry. I had you
Replaced by Chatty.
That's all right. I'm
Replaced by
all
chatties.
kerfuffled anyway with my stuff here.
There you go. You're
It's on
there.
my edges.
All right. So we've got the second clue for the synth quiz. Don't forget, if you do want to put your answer in, you do synth quiz. Sorry, I always get this wrong. Put my name, Ranzee, then put synth quiz, and then put your answer. If you want it, if you think you've got it already. I know what you guys do. Don't worry. I'm not stupid. Like, I know you guys get these keywords and you say, you go into Google and you type in something and then you type the keyword in and you say, oh, wow, what comes up? Oh, it must be that synth because that's coming up. If you guys are going to do that, then, you've got to be able to sleep straight in bed at night. That's up to you, If you need Google to run your life, all better for it. Why don't you just try and use your memory, see if that works? You feel better about yourself. Your knowledge of synths should be what you should be proud of here, boys. That's what we should be doing, and ladies, of course, as well. Let's jump on to, why don't we do? We've got Price Watch this week. Now, Andy, I didn't because I didn't get yours soon enough. I said, don't worry about it.
no worries.
I did one up. You can.
I got some anyway, but I'll give them to you next time. Yeah.
Give them to me next week. Yeah, you can run this one though, because it'll come up and you can talk about it just like I can. It's not rocket science, this stuff. So why don't we go through and do Price Watch, and then we'll come out the other side and see what happens. That's the news. That's not Price Watch. There we go. There's Price Watch. Let's get it right. Indeed, let's get it right. And in fact, if you are thinking about spending 299,999 smackaroonies, you can get yourself an ARP 2500.
Nice.
Hello, ARP 2500. How many of these are around? Not many. This one is pretty complete. Look at this.
Wow.
This is on eBay, guys.
Cool.
This one is located in Arizona, in Tucson, in Arizona, by the way. Hello to everyone in Tucson in Arizona. Jump in chat if you're from that way, or you come from that way, or you're an Arizonian. Anyway, I would love this, but I don't know if I would spend my entire life savings on it. Yeah. I don't know. Are we getting a bit stupid with these prices for things? Like, is that getting a bit silly?
Well, it is very complete. I mean, it's a huge system. It's not just the basic stuff you usually see. So and if it's got the proper keyboard and everything, it could fetch a pretty crazy price.
As with all the shows, don't forget there's a blog article. It actually links it. Chatbots tells you about it every week. But we can check this out. This is actually an eBay listing. It's still live. It's still for sale. Don't worry, guys. You haven't missed out. If you've got that credit card, the Amex would probably do it, actually. Speaking of which, if you had an Amex, you could probably hit the old...
Right, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. If they accepted Amex.
The pin matrix stuff is very clean, obviously, but I still would prefer wires to track signal flow and stuff. I'm not used to the battleship style stuff yet, so
I don't care what anyone says. If someone said, "Rands, here is a 2500. We love you. I think you deserve one," I'd say yes, thank you.
Well, yeah, if you're given one, sure, but
and I'm happy to mow your lawn for the next 20 years, if that helps. I can even cook. I can do a mean barbecue. I will also drink beer with you as well. But yeah, seriously, let's keep looking at this because right now there's saliva running down the side of my mouth. Andy, how can you not want battleships? Battleships, mate. How
No,
fun!
I like it. I'm just more used to tracing wires than pin matrices. So
How fun is playing synths and then saying, was it a hit or a miss? At the same
you
time.
sunk my battleship. You sunk my LFO.
Yes. It's like, I haven't seen anyone put two back to back because that would, of course, be the ultimate
You
configuration.
sunk my oscillator. Ah, dearie me.
Yeah.
Yes.
Ah, it's a
Correct.
thing of
Submarine.
beauty,
I
isn't
mean,
it?
It's a sub oscillator.
Hey, Pete Townsend loved it. So, it's not just for synth players. Guitar players like it too.
That crazy French guy liked it as well. He liked it a lot. I do love what Beringer did though with it. Well, we shouldn't say Beringer, should we? We should say Rob. Really, Rob from AM Synths.
AM Synths.
Yeah, because he pretty much did it. They did a really good job. I mean, we're spoiled, aren't we? Really, when you think about it these days. Do you like that one, Andy? That was a good one, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
Beauty. What have we got next? Eventide harmonizer. See, how topical is that? Wow. This one is
Very
the
topical.
949 though, not the 3000. This one was the earlier one, I believe.
Yeah,
1980.
it's definitely the really early 80s
1982.
one. I kind of like this one better though, because it is so 80s.
Because it's
Early
so
80s.
80s.
Yeah, I like
That's
that.
cool.
Black.
I mean, I remember playing with the yellow one a lot, the 3000 in the stores, but yeah, I've never seen one this in person. This is nice.
I've got a plugin that does this from Eventide.
Okay.
So it's actually their plugin, so it has their algorithm in it, and I absolutely love it. It does a fantastic job. I've used it in some of my albums, actually.
Sweet.
It's not this, though. I mean, this would be better, to be fair, because this is the Ridgy-Didge real thing. Look at the electronics in that, Chris.
Yeah. I am
Doesn't that
loving
just
that.
make you feel like flying your little mini spaceship through there?
And they got the rainbow ribbon cables. Makes me think of Apple IIs.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's so you don't mix up the wiring, mate. That's the whole point of that.
It's interesting. I love all these old things with different circuit boards from different sources, which of course
Yeah,
you just don't
different
see
coloured.
these days, of course, but because that was pioneering back then.
Yeah.
They had to source things from different places. Some things had to be built in-house. Some things were built by someone else.
Those standoffs.
so,
Those
you
are
know.
huge standoffs.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Made in the United States of America. Booyah! Get that into you, eh?
Hand-mounted...
See, this is
those
what
mounted
Trump
by
wants,
hand,
Andy.
clearly.
They're making reverb
great.
great again. So it's,
Oh, quote of the day. Love
That's
it.
classic.
Serial number. Where are we? 2872.
230? No, that's fault.
2872.
Yeah, they made a lot.
and that was back when they put Eventide Clockworks on the product, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, these guys, they sold a lot of gear to a lot of studios around the world. And because they made some good stuff. That's why. All right.
Yeah.
Next, Andy, just for you. I knew you'd like
I
this.
have one of these. I actually have one of these. They're really nice.
Tell us about it. What does it do?
It's just a really nice digital controlled analog filter box, and there was a 2-pole version, and this is the much nicer 4-pole version. So the interface, it looks like a Evolver or something like that with the matrix design. So it's a little, if you're not into matrix, jumping through settings by following that matrix on the right there, then you're going to hate this. Also, it's an LED screen, so the only feedback you get is what's printed here, because you have these arcane words showing up in LED speak, right? All the funky abbreviations and stuff. Trying to use numbers to make letters, which is always silly, right? So not everyone's into that kind of stuff. But it does have, Axel Hartman makes beautiful stuff. So it's got the colorful interface. It's got the cool like cutout shape. All those buttons you can't tell very well from here, but they're all rounded off, curved buttons that taper down to the case. So everything is just like beautiful looking and smooth, and very tactile. My only gripe with this guy is this is the era of wobbly pots. I think the shafts are flexible, or they're just not mounted super solidly to the frame or whatever. So every time you touch the knob, they wobble. But they are rubbery knobs so that you can't slip, which is nice. Very cool stuff.
Yeah. Why am I having... I know they'd made a 2-pole version. Was that newer, though? That was a newer thing,
I think it was newer. I think it was newer, yeah.
Right.
Cheaper, newer, get a bigger audience. But yeah, my friend who I got this from, he beat the crap out of it. I mean, it's kind of scuffed up, but it still works.
I know what it was. Do you remember the Strike Fet, the little boxes they made? The Strike Fet, then there was the Rocket, and then there was the 2-pole.
Yeah.
They were all the same sort of form factor size.
Form factor, yeah.
Yeah. And I don't think the 2-pole sold that well, if I remember right.
But this is the same era as the microwave.
Yeah.
Microwave 1, Microwave 2. So it has the same design language, the same kind of color scheme. Just cool looking,
Yeah.
Yeah, that two-pole came out with the Rocket. I think they're about the same time them two came out.
Yeah. Okay, what else is next? Andy, what about this sucker?
I've not seen this in person, but I've heard about it. Electro Harmonics does do synths once in a while. They have guitar pedal synths, and they have now they have like guitar-driven synths, where it actually takes the guitar input and generates synthy stuff like the Mel 9 and the a few other things to get Mellotron sounds out of a pedal. But yeah, this is clever. This is back when they actually made little synthy things with sliders and a keyboard and everything. It's really clever. Just never seen one in person. So does it say 1980? Yeah, very very old, and limited. You can see the amount of controls. It's not deep, but if for people to grab onto the synth market and maybe a guitar player wants to dabble in synths, they would get one of these.
Yeah, I mean, it's on eBay for $9.99 US. I remember looking into one of these things at one stage, and someone said to me, "These are worth getting if you find them because they're a little bit rarer than the other."
Yeah, I've never seen one anywhere.
Yeah,
you don't even see them online in auctions very much. They're just not common. Either they all broke or no one's selling them. That's basically what it comes down to.
Yeah. Now, so I do have it up on eBay. You guys can check it out. There's not that many. Oops, I always do that. There we go. Because that's what you think you're going to do. Click on it and it will expand. But no, it just.
But it's fun. They went with the kind of ARP Odyssey, like the Tic Tac colored caps on the things.
Yeah, little plastic caps.
Just in case that was a dodgy video, I just thought I'd skip that.
And you can see the wear in the keyboard there. The black's been worn off.
Yeah.
A few areas
Oh,
there.
look at
that.
Electronics in that sucker.
Oh,
eh?
2 9-volts. Look at that. Interesting.
18 volts.
Looks pretty crusty.
Little manual there as well. Oh, yeah. There you go. Ring mod.
Yeah.
Cool. The video, by the way, I think it does do some audio, but I can't, obviously, for copyright reasons. Can't show it.
I bet it sounds pretty crappy with that little 8-ohm speaker, right? So
Yeah. All right, next is the Roland Rhythm TR-77.
Ooh, I've never seen this one. Interesting.
Yeah. Isn't that interesting indeed?
Yeah.
Probably the perfect mate for your organ.
Yeah, so it's designed for the organ crowd. Yeah. So that's cool.
Not that organ.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you swing that way,
I swing anyway, as long as it's bossa nova.
Yeah.
This is in Huntington Beach in California. So you're looking at about 650, 700 US for this, if you're wondering. And there's a few photos on VBurb.
Interesting.
Is that a little manual thing? I think it does come with a little
So
manual.
does it sound like a CR78 kind of sort of? Like
What was that drum machine that came out? Is it the 707 or the 727? Which one was more analog?
Yeah.
The 707, wasn't it?
727 was just the alternate version, right? It had like Latino stuff in it. And all that.
Yeah, I think it might have been. It's
both.
kind of like a. I don't know. Someone will tell us in chat. I could be
Yeah.
right off on the wrong tangent here.
Was it like more like a mini pops sound, or what do you think the?
I wonder if it's the the Twin T stuff, Chris.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably is.
It was TR77V, wasn't it?
Looks like it predates.
They have a Western. There's a Western one, a ballad.
The 808, so definitely predates the 808, don't you think?
Oh, they have Bolero. Look at that.
It just looks like a suitcase,
Tango and Bolero.
doesn't it? I can't find much
Oh,
information.
there's Kent. He has a
Blue
TR77. He's in the chat.
Oh, Kent.
I've got an owner's
Is it
manual
mini popsy sounding, Kent, or is it 808 sounding? Fill us in, mate.
It's somewhere between a mini pops and a
here. Okay.
CR78, right?
All right. So it has. I'll tell you guys. I'll go back to here. So it has a rhythm selector of 10 different types of rhythms for jazz and Latin, and 10 buttons for Latin rhythms. Employ automatic cancel systems. The Latin rhythms don't come out unless the Latin is on. The device has a prevention for mixture of jazz rhythms. So in other words, you can't put two in at the same time. I think that's trying to say. What else is there? There's a cancel button. There's a tempo adjustment. There's a metronome. There's a start bar, which is like a touch plate. There's a beat selector and variation, a fade out switch, an up tempo switch, and a rhythm combination. By combining the rhythm selector and the beat selector simultaneously, you get interesting mixes. So you can do that, but you can't do multiple rhythms together. Okay, cool.
I bet Jean-Michel Jarre had one.
And the manual has just a whole bunch of music notation in it.
Yeah, we've
and
seen
then there's
that
circuit
before,
boards,
haven't we?
and then circuit
Yeah,
diagrams. Ah, good old Roland.
Well, it's useful for
Less than
surface
little cotton
technicians to
socks.
know what the rhythms it's supposed to be putting out at any setting. So that's probably why they asked for it. Please give us every single rhythm output so we can check that it is exactly what the manufacturer intended.
Does it show the back of the unit in the pictures? Connectivity?
Yeah, it does. There's very little. I'll show you.
Yeah.
Oh, it's got the
Utilitarian
recessed
at best.
thing, yeah. Where the wire goes in the back, yeah.
That's it. Exciting. Control yourself, Andy. All right. Last but not least. Oh, is it not working? Do I have to refresh? I'm probably having to refresh. Hang on 1 second. Let me click reload. Refresh. Last but not least. Yay! There we go. Is this one. The Korg Univox Poly Ensemble S PE2000.
Wow.
I don't know if I've
Never
seen one of these before. Maybe I haven't.
Yeah, I've
I
never
don't
seen
know.
that.
I'm sure Kent has, but
He says it's rare, so it must be rare if he says so.
yeah, you have to believe him. This one is in Chicago.
But he has no green check mark, so I'm not sure if I totally believe him.
It's in the Windy City. Hopefully, it hasn't blown away. There we go. Look at that. Presets, guys. Organ, chorus, brass, string. Oh, mate. Fantastic. Hey?
Yeah.
Tap on the ivories there, boys. What are you doing? This is
None of
awesome.
the keys are broken.
There's a knob that says calibration.
Look at that knob on the left. Boys, look at the knob on the left right now.
Oh, yeah.
I'm in love with it already.
Yes.
How many pole do you think that is?
Well, it's twinkling in my pole, that's for sure. Expression pedal
Too much
connection.
information. Too much information.
So they manufactured it for Univox. Wow, interesting little sort of sticker, that, isn't it? Kind of gives you a little bit of a insight into the company back in the day, right? Korg Poly Ensemble S, manufactured for Univox.
Oh, that's cool. You can do director or phase shifter. You have an option with the output.
Yeah. Anyway, that is... the guy says it's very rare. He said it's used by Jean-Michel Jarre and Tangerine Dream and Vangelis and everyone. Yeah. Hawkwind. Do you remember them, Hawkwind? They were, yeah. Interesting. Let's not go down that rabbit hole, though. Anyway, you can stack 3 oscillators per key per voice in octaves, apparently, on this thing.
Ken said he had one.
I mean, it's got the PE2000 name. It's kind of... I wonder whether the circuitry in this thing is kind of like a precursor to that remade synth that they've just done, the Korg. The 3000, right?
Possibly.
Wonder if there's any
it's
sort of
very
similarities.
Boxy. No curves here. All very boxy.
But yeah, there was a stage where everyone just wanted the Logan string / Selena sound, didn't they? They just wanted it. So Roland came up with their weird vocoder thing, the VP330. Korg have got this thing. I don't know if it's all kind of the same time, but it's a similar period of time, right?
I remember the first time I can remember hearing a string synth, and it was like Gary Wright's Dreamweaver. It was amazing. Just sounded so good.
Yeah, because it had the ensemble effect on it. Remember? Yeah,
really nice.
It's that kind of wobbly, slightly going in and out of tune sound. I mean, the Strike Fet does quite a few little emulations in it, and I think it actually does that
good,
one. Yeah. If you guys ever, if you're thinking to yourself, look, I'm not going to spend £1,000 on a thing that's going to break in 5 seconds, because it could. Any of these things that you buy that are used that are like 400,000 years old, including that ARP 2500, guys, you would literally need like an electronic engineer on standby if you bought something like that. Seriously, you would, because who knows what component's going to pop and go down.
Don't move around too much.
Yeah, you just don't know.
But StrikeFet's cool. It's actually bitimbral, so you can actually two different MIDI channels on it simultaneously. So it's cool.
You know what though? Like if I had this in my little room here in my studio, I would just get abused for bringing another piano in.
That's right, yes. Because they're all pianos.
They're all pianos, keys. Apparently. Yes, they are indeed. That's it for Price Watch. Did good job, Andy. Look at that. You didn't even have to lift a finger.
Yeah, you found some good stuff. Thanks.
Yeah, the 2500 was my favorite, obviously. But what about you guys?
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's hard to go past that. I quite like the little rhythm machine.
Yeah?
Yeah.
A couple of really...
The 4-pole sounds great. I really
things.
like the 4-pole. I just don't use it much, but it's nice.
So, what type of... Is it like a Moog cloney sort of sound? Is it like a ladder?
I believe it's a ladder with compensation.
Right.
I don't quite remember, sadly.
So is it the SSM? Are they using the SSM?
But it's that proper, 24 dB kick-ass sound. So it's nice.
So they might be using the SSM chip to do the 4-pole.
Could be, yeah.
I
read about it a long time ago and I forgot. But it's Waldorf, so it's good. Waldorf makes great stuff. So.
Oh, absolutely. Big fan of Waldorf. Right. Well, why don't we do clue number 3 for the synth quiz? Should be getting the answers in for this, guys. Come on. Surely. This one, if you don't get it by now, like it's like I'm going to shake my head. The letter O dot L dot. I'm not going to tell you what that stands for. You guys can work it out. If you start Googling this, you'll find the answer. But I really would prefer it if you guys don't Google, because it's just not playing fair.
No, I don't do that.
Give it a couple of minutes. You guys can have your guesses
I don't
in.
have a clue. Yeah.
Yeah.
I probably have the synth too, and I don't have a clue. So yeah.
Yeah.
No, I never Google it.
On you, Daren. What are we going to do next?
I missed the other clues anyway because I wasn't there.
Right. Well, we have we've done all the segments. I'm going to do How's Your Week Been, because Daren's here now. I'm going to start with you, Daren. So,
Nothing.
ready?
Oh, nothing to report on. Yeah, go on.
Daren, how's your week been?
I like your post.
Nothing to report on music front. I've been doing jobs, doing rooms, moving stuff about, going to decorate and stuff. So yeah, not literally no music. Not even. I think I've been on YouTube twice this week for music. For one of the live streams. Other than that, I've not done literally anything. I think because Ian's playing at Leeds Festival today, that's why he's not here. There's quite a few festivals, EMOMs, and God knows what's on today, yesterday, Thursday. So yeah, literally done nothing. I've been locked away work and doing sort of more homey stuff than music. So that's all I've got to report on. The fact is, and the weather, we always give a report, don't we? It's nice and sunny, about 22 degrees, and we're just starting to hit the grips of a drought in places because it's been the driest 3 months for 60 years. So yeah, we'll be in drought season very shortly.
Not good for the farmers up your way.
No.
But there's no climate change,
they're all
so don't worry
starting
about it. So
No, we're all right. It's not warming up, and it's like I say,
yeah.
I think we're 44. Oh, it was 40. Last month it was 44% less rain than average. That was last month, but I think it's even worse now. So we literally are the driest, like I say, the driest 2 or 3 months for over 60 years. So
wow.
Yeah, it's not been extremely warm. It's been, I think the highest we've had is about 25, maybe 26. But it's just been literally no rain. We're just trapped in a high pressure, and it's not letting anything in.
Kind of similar to what's happening here. It's almost like we've meet
Warm
the same
ass.
weather zones, and we're gonna get colder, and you're gonna get warmer. I will.
It's not a new poster, Chris. It's
Is it?
off the Future Sound of London Lifeforms album back in the 90s, and it's the cover for that, and it's just been blown up. So it's
Looks
I
good.
liked the actual artwork on it.
I will admit, speaking of climate change, I actually don't have a problem with climate change. The problem I have is the governments who like to tax and monetize it. I'm happy I'm happy to do climate change stuff, but I just don't want to be the getting wrapped up into
the
some
Kent's area, they got that
bullshit
ULEZ
tax.
thing, right, with the cameras tracking your movements and charging you accordingly for driving too much.
Yeah.
That's bullshit.
Well,
Yeah,
Andy, you can tell us all about it, and how's your week been?
Oh,
You don't have to.
so
Just kidding.
no, that's fine. It wasn't that eventful. I did a hardware jam as they were on the Ewok kick again. So I did a kind of a pseudo Ewok, as if Ewoks had tried to do some techno with their primitive instruments. So it's not really techno, but I tried to follow the prompt, as closely as I could. Some people just did like regular techno. It's like, well, the Ewoks don't have access to, acid boxes and stuff like that. But anyway, it was fun. But the This week's is a Eurovision version of Hardware
Yeah.
Jams. So we have to come up with
Oh
something
my God.
cheesy Eurovision style. So I don't know if I'm going to do that one. I'm not really into that kind of music, but we'll see. And then other than that, I haven't done a whole lot. I haven't had time to do any damn podcasts or tutorials or anything lately. But I did have some interesting stuff as I'm driving around with my side hustle doing some rideshare stuff at Stanford. I picked up somebody late one night at Karma, and I was like, oh no, did I miss another show? They had an open house and a live performance there again. And I was like, totally missed it. I spaced. And she was super cool. She had a Moog Muse she did a performance with, and she had a drum impact and something else. Ooh. So I actually helped her load that into the car, and I got to feel how heavy the Muse is. It's fairly hefty.
Oh, she's big.
It's not a light.
Yeah.
It's not a light synth. And that same night, about 2 hours earlier, I gave a guy a ride to some other part of campus, and we're talking about music, and he goes, "Oh, I actually work for a music company." I said, "Who?" And he goes, "Native Instruments." I go, "Oh, really?" So we went. I talked his ear off about. I talked about Machina Plus, of course, because that's my favorite, and torture him with a few tracks just so you can get a taste of what I'm doing with it. And yeah, it's cool. So it's cool to run into these people and talk about stuff and like-minded stuff, and yeah, good time. So that was fun. A couple of music-y things, but nothing I did. It's just meeting people who are
such a small world,
stuff.
isn't it? It is such a small world. Yeah, I love that
great,
sort of stuff. Yeah, awesome,
Totally.
Andy. Awesome, man. Chris, I'm going to head over to you now.
Yeah.
How's your week been, buddy?
Week's been pretty cool. I had to make a difficult decision this week. Well, I could say it's a slightly uncomfortable decision this week. I had to decide whether I was going to have some new boards manufactured and to throw out a bunch of boards that I just had manufactured.
Right.
So, but I made that decision, and they are being manufactured now. But to make it more financially worth my while, the postage is absolutely insane. I decided to add some other things, and I did one of my 48-hour PCB design challenges. So that's what I was doing for it was 48 hours. Make that 56 hours. No, okay, make that 72 hours. It took a bit longer than that.
Would you believe?
Yes, would you believe? Yes, it's my Get Smart moment there. It always takes longer than you think, but it's kind of cool. I've basically designed this PCB that is going to be my development platform for the Daisy Patch SM eurorack interface designed Daisy DSP system, which, well, you know what, I reckon I can probably show you a live picture now. Can I go to there? Is it that one? Oh, there it is. Yes. Is it on? Yes, it is. Okay, so this is what I've designed. It's basically a PCB. Is it going to move around? Am I grabbing the wrong thing? I am grabbing the wrong thing. So many windows open, I forget which one's the copy and which one's the original. It's basically, so the Daisy sits underneath this panel here on the underside of the board, and I break out everything, basically everything that module can do. So we got pots, we got switches, two different choices of switches there. Obviously inputs, outputs, audio inputs, CV inputs, CV outputs, some gate inputs, some gate outputs. There's even a little SD card interface that is going to be important for what I want to try and do with it. And I've even put a little spot for a little OLED display. It'll be one of those stupidly tiny ones, but it's just for development. So as you can see, it is the Daisy Patch SM development board. Yes, so a bit of fun making this guy.
What app is that?
This is KiCad. Sorry, I'm distorting.
KiCad.
KiCad, and it's just the 3D viewer. I don't want to reveal all
That's
my
cool.
secrets.
Yeah,
but
it's open source, right, or cheap or whatever.
Yeah, it's basically free to use.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, this is the my first time experimenting with, well, it's actually my second time experimenting with smaller track traces. I usually don't do traces this small. And of course, everything does look quite, not tiny on the screens, is what I've learnt. But when you realise that the actual thing, I'll just go to it. If I got that. This is the actual size of the actual board. It's a lot smaller than you realise, and it's easy to lose perspective on whatever it is. So I always print them out and make sure that the text is still legible, because when you're designing fun stuff like that, you've got to
It's got to be realistic, right?
Yeah, you got to be realistic. So I can always do what you tell them to do. Let's bring up 3D view again. You can always so let's just flip the board, and maybe set it to top view. Yay! So stuff like, can you read that? Trig in CV. I kept on making the text bigger and bigger and bigger, and but then again you got to squeeze. Now the other thing I just wanted to mention is all these pins here. That's basically, so on the back of the board, all of the connections are normaled. So each one of those pads is a solder, sort of a solder bridge that's already bridged. And if I want to change what pin C10 does, and I want to route it through to one of the other pots or something like that, I just have to cut a trace on the back, and then use the pins and put in normal DuPont connectors. But I may not solder those in until I have a reason to, so keep it a bit more clean. So the idea behind this board is I have this is actually a personal project. It's not necessarily going to be something from Makeshift Modular, but never say never. It's going to be a drum sampler. So that's why I thought it was interesting that we looked at that Vermona thing this week, because that's kind of the workflow I'm talking about here. The idea is I want to make a eurorack module that can sample my digital and analog drum voices that I only have one of. So I can create a clap and then a kick drum and a blah, blah, blah. Sample them into this thing and really quickly be able to move on to the next sound and build up a pattern that way. So very similar workflow to what we were talking about with the Vermona thing, but it's, of course, we're talking about a modular system. So, yeah, that's the idea behind that. That was my original intention.
Would you allow granular control of the samples, or is it mainly a sample playback?
Mainly sample playback, but it has to do the live sampling. And it would be also cool if it could do resampling. And it would be nice if we could have a reverb, especially a gated reverb, a lovely 80s gated reverb.
So you didn't like the 1010 music module?
No, the 1010 music module, I should have a look at.
Yeah.
Definitely is on the list of things that I should.
I mean, Brooksy swears by it.
Yeah, I know.
They're great, yeah.
And I've looked at a few other ones. The only reason why I've gone down this route, and it's a private project, so it's not,
Indeed.
I have looked, it's for fun. It's because there's a particular connection workflow I want to do. I want to do a particular thing with the use of triggers and the RS9 and just the actual workflow of what you patch in and where you put it. And I've not seen that particular configuration on any module out there. So I thought, I want to make my own. So
in fact, if you do it just right, you can bridge the gap of the bit box and the black box, because you could put it in a small case and make it a portable unit too.
Well, the development platform does look very much like a desktop unit, doesn't it? It's kind of, but it is small enough to fit in a rack because it's only 99 millimeters high, so you can squeeze it into the. So I probably will make up some little 3D printed doohickeys to put it in a rack just to play with it at some stage. So I wasn't intending to make a desktop I'm intending to make a development unit, and it just so happens that sitting on a desktop next to me while I'm developing is exactly what I need. So yeah, so that's just a bit of fun.
Desktop things are always cool, Chris.
They are cool, yeah. As I said, it's quite fun.
Park
fun
bench
designing,
compatible.
but, yeah, so
Yeah,
I feel a bit less
exactly.
bad about. I feel a bit less bad about spending money on PCBs when I add something fun to add to it. So you got to apply yourself somehow to get through some of the uncomfortable decisions you have to make. The other thing is this week is I went and saw my 3D printing buddy, and we mucked around with this 3D printer for a while. And what I did was I talked about this before. The little passive attenuators, a little cover that goes on the bum, like that.
A little butt cover.
Just snaps in, yeah. So it just literally,
Yeah.
snaps
No
in.
shorting. That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's basically gets the thing. Now the only thing is that I realised that of course the logo disappears because there's a black thing covering it. My logo. So I'm going to make
Print it in the
one for
plastic.
Windows. Well, yeah.
No, print it in the plastic.
We have,
Yeah.
to be honest, we haven't had a lot of success printing text into this.
Really?
Yeah, it's a bit hit and miss. Some
If you
big
make
text
it
looks
big enough
okay,
and deep
little
enough,
text.
it will take. So yeah.
Yeah. But you still get there are compromises. It looks okay on camera, but then when you see it in person, it's not quite.
Are you going to make that?
Not
Are you going
quite
to make a
so
top
lovely.
part? Are you going to actually make it a full case, Chris?
I hadn't intended to because I wanted to leave some of the the circuitness exposed type vibe. But
Yeah.
I guess I could make a clear case or something. Are you interested in that, Darren? Or would you like to see that? A fully covered one?
I was just curious, with you doing the back, obviously for reasons. I just thought you were going to be.
It was
doing the
mainly-
front, normally.
Yeah, it wasn't really a cosmetic reason. It was mainly for preventing shorting with things in your rack and stuff like that.
Could you use a large
that's
heat
what I
shrink
thought, but I
tube
thought-
and get a similar effect?
Yeah, you can use heat shrink, but I reckon that looks ugly and amateurish.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought. If you were doing a top case, it looked quite neat and. But I mean, some people like the sort of bear look as well.
Well,
So
I'm tempted to have variants, or at least, I mean, the thing about this is that even if I sell the cases with them, and I probably will, I'm just deciding whether I'm going to put them on and tell people how to take them off, or leave them off and tell them how to put it on. And then people can choose if they want to have a little cover on the back or not.
Just make sure if you
It's
make
only
a
a
video
little-
for
well,
that,
just
play burlesque music while you take the cover off.
Yes. Yeah.
well, I was just thinking you
But
could
it's-
have like top colours, different colours, so that when you've got a bunch of them.
Yeah, I guess so. Well, you already have the different coloured. You always have the different coloured cables. You already have the different coloured cables, but yeah, the PCB is. I was thinking of potentially having a red one, but we don't have any great red 3D filament. Red's a bit of a sketchy colour for some reason in PLA, but maybe we can look at ABS. Food for thought, anyway. Anyway, the main idea I was going to have was little window to let the logo through. I thought is a reasonable compromise, but that's just a little. It's just a little thing for the burlesque video. Thanks, Steve. He wants burlesque video, so
For
I'm gonna have to
burlesque
do that now.
music.
Who doesn't, right? So,
But yeah,
Good
it
on you,
is just a little. This is not the main event, guys. We've got something bigger coming. Rance knows about it, and we're working on it. So this is just a little, I don't know, the grapes on top of the fruit bowl or something. Can't think of a good analogy.
As long as that's the type of grapes
So,
you're talking about.
I got to be careful not to make it take up too much time, and it's got to be, it's inexpensive and worth my while to actually shift.
Very
my
interesting. Well, I definitely was interested. So
Cool.
And I don't really care what other people think. We can
Yep, so that's it.
we can nerd out on Eurorack to our heart's content, Chris, and we will be happy. That's
Yes,
the
we
main
will.
thing.
Take over the show.
I was thinking today, right, that, just pulling out a module and plugging another module in, it's just a cool thing. It's so simple, right? It's such a simple thing. Some people might think, oh my God, it's petty. But it is such a cool thing, especially you're holding the module in your hand, right? You got your module in your hand, I've got one here. And you're holding something that now you're going to put it in with a whole bunch of other stuff next to it. And that's going to change the whole manipulation of what you've just had before, just by changing that module to something else. Because it's either serving a completely different function or it might be improving it or whatever. It's just, to me, it's such a cool physical
synth
tactile
Lego
thing.
It's great.
Yeah, synth Lego. Exactly. You're building stuff.
It's kind of inspiring.
You're never ever going to get me uninterested in that. Can you tell?
Yes. Give Ranzee another module and he'll be happy. Doesn't care what it is.
You have a few modules there. You got a way to go. So
Ding ding! Oh, there's something coming in my driveway. Oh, it's a module. Oh, fabulous indeed. Anyway, we should. What we should do first? We should do probably reveal the synth. The quiz. You guys have been pathetic this week with this quiz. I'm really disappointed. But anyway, why don't I reveal what it is, because I feel like you'll go, oh, really? Is that what it was? Again, okay. It's going to be one of those things. Are you ready? The answer to the synth quiz is, because nobody's got it, is the Moog Slim Fatty.
Oh.
Yeah. So there you go. I have it, and I didn't know all that stuff. So there you go.
Yeah. So the RAC was the first clue. Stands for Real Audio Control. If you guys know the Slim Fatty and the Little Fatty, they both had those rotary controllers with the LED ring around them, and that's called Real Audio Control. That's what that's called, and they refer to it in their manual as RAC. And it's not the Royal Automobile Club. Sorry. Pot mapping is definitely not something that you do down at the local forest. No, this is actually something that you can do in the modulation section of the Fatties synths, so that's good. And OL is actually written on the front panel of both the Little Fatties and the Slim Fatties, and that stands for is it it's not overdrive, overload. Yeah. So it's kind of like an overdrive.
So that's where the feedback of the
the feed to the back of the unit, the old patch cord method.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's telling you where the jack is from the front panel. So
there you go.
Plug it in.
Yeah.
I can't believe you guys didn't get that.
Bad synth nerd. Synth nerd.
I know. I feel emasculated by not knowing all that stuff.
I thought to myself, I've done Korgs, I've done Rolands, I've done a whole bunch of stuff. I haven't done a Moog yet, so I thought, let's do a Moog. And Moogs are hard to do because like most of them would have contour and all the standard stuff that you'd see in a mini Moog. And I looked at the sub 30, sub 37, because I've got a sub 37 here. I may do a sub 37 down the track, so you can keep guessing sub 37 each week until one week you might get it right. But I may not either. So there you go. All right, we still got a couple of minutes left on the show. We can have a bit of fun. We can do Saturday Sonority, where you can do what it says there, the guy with the texter. Do that. That floats your boat. Oh, Mr. Spong.
Because
I do love Tim
Tams are
Tams
the
too,
best.
Kent.
Yeah, well, get stuck into Tim Tams, Mr. Spong. They are awesome. Thanks, mate. Appreciate the 20, and also from Steve as well. Appreciate the 50 before with your burlesque music. Burlesque music, really? Cha-cha-cha? Is that what you want? A bit of cha-cha?
Oh, well, he's doing the striptease with the module, the little the wire thing. So.
Is Steve still in the UK, or has he come back home? By the way, Tim, what is going on? It's Tim Tam Gate right now. Tim Tams are more expensive here in Australia than they are in the UK. It's a complete farce. It's ridiculous. I don't even know what's going on. And the people of whoever, Choice Magazine or whatever, they asked Arnott's why. Arnott's is the biscuit company here in Australia. Actually, it was started by a Scottish guy. Anyway, his last name was Arnott's.
I haven't had them for years. They're frosted cookies, right?
They're
like
a
coated?
chocolate. No, they're a chocolate. So they've got chocolate on the outside. They've got like a chocolate biscuit in the middle, and a kind of like a
Ganache.
like a ganache cream in the middle.
So it's like a fancy Oreo, basically. Yeah,
Well,
I
it's
haven't had
like-
one for years.
It's like a what's that UK equivalent?
Cream though.
Penguin. Penguin.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like a penguin. But
Yeah, we had an Australian guy who would visit the office. He'd always bring them, but I haven't had them for like 5 years. So
yeah, I mean they're okay. I don't really personally see what's so good about them, but they're okay. There's better things than Tim Tams. But if you ask Ken,
I have to admit,
he was probably going to slap me now for saying that. He does like
I
them.
could eat more. I could personally eat more Kit Kats probably than Tim Tams.
Well, Kit Kats are made by Nestle, and you can get Kit Kats all over the world, can't you? So
all kinds of weird flavors too, international flavors for Kit Kats.
yeah.
No,
Actually,
all wrong.
that is actually a thing, because if you have a Kit Kat in Sweden,
Oh, they have different sweetness. in the
different
chocolate
different
stuff.
I had them in
chocolates.
Japan. They're very different.
Yeah.
Just
In Australia, that people say the Australian versions are quite salty tasting.
Yeah, I see what they mean.
Not because the Australians are salty.
you salty
The crocodiles are salty though.
They never expire. Well, maybe they don't. I'm hoping not. I don't ever expire anyway. Who enjoyed the show? What was your favorite meme? What was your favorite product? What was your favorite secondhand thing and price watch? Did you like the synth quiz? Let us know in the chat what you guys thought. Darren,
nice toilet
did you-
coverage. It's good. So,
You've been busy, mate. You've been doing stuff in your house, have you? Is that what you've been doing?
Yeah. yeah. So I
Renos,
missed
no.
some. Well, what's that half of it? Yeah, I'd missed till I got here. I occasionally had it on just to listen to, but I couldn't really get to it. I was just on my iPad, so.
Well, there you go. I was playing around with the Pro 800. I haven't played with the Pro 800 for a bit. It's been sitting there in the rack over there. I did that quite well, didn't I? Actually, over there in the rack.
Hey, what's the one?
I got something.
What's the
Something behind me on the
what's the
soldering
musical synth or device that you've not actually used for ages and it's still in your studio that we can see?
Well,
Something you've
up until a week ago, it would have been that 2600. I haven't used it for ages. So the last time I used the 2600 was when I was doing the Gates album, which is 2023. So when you think about it, that's like 2 years. So there might be something that's older than that, but I've probably sold it down.
that was your old studio config, right?
Yeah,
When you used to have the 2600 just to your right. And,
yeah, just to the next to me. Yeah.
yeah.
I got a lot more use out of it when it was next to me. But what I found though now is I'm using it again for something that I'm doing, and I just get off my ass and go and walk over there and change a few things, and then come back over here and manipulate it with MIDI. If you want to kind of do weird things with it, like change LFO, that sort of stuff, just patch it into. I just patch it into the modular, and then just get that.
Is your
to
MX1?
automate stuff.
Do you still use your MX1?
Yeah, all the time. Yeah, she's right there.
I was just
can see
watching
it.
the
You can
lights.
see it
flashing
dancing.
on
Yeah,
something like that.
yeah. In fact, I use it to. So I've got a lot of Roland synths, like the System 8 is up there in the corner. There's a TR8 there. There's a couple of boutiques behind that Yamaha there, and they're all plugged in through the USB connection on it, which is really, really cool because it's 96K, nice, pure, digital connection on it. It's really, really good. It's still, such an old mixer now, but it's still so good.
Something they should have done the Mark II of.
I reckon they should have. I don't know why they don't. They just do something and then it's like almost like
that's the
Roland
annoying
has
thing.
Roland has ADHD, I reckon.
Possibly.
Yeah.
It's not meant to be a criticism of anyone who's got ADHD. I think something that, if you actually did have ADHD, you'd probably laugh at it, because we all know, like, I'm concentrating on my driving. Oh, look, a squirrel. That's
Well, it's true, 'cause they have
ADHD.
they have the Iris stuff, then they have the boutiques,
Yeah.
and they have there's clearly defined areas.
They do it and you think, now they're going to move on and make Mark II versions of this thing. Then they go, nah, let's try something else.
Well, yep.
And what they'll do is the marketing department will make some reference to the MX1 for something that won't be anything like the MX1. Like what they did with all the digitized versions of the Jupiters and
Well, some of the stuff is extremely lazy. So the original SP404 with the compact flash, then they made, it's like an SD card version, but we're going to slightly change it to an orange motif. And then they took that exact model, painted it green, and called it the IRA version. They didn't change anything else, And then they finally came up with the Mark II, which is the fancy SP404. So.
Well, I mean, we can bash Roland, but at least they're actually bringing out synths. Like,
I love the stuff. Yeah.
I mean,
no, it's not so much as a bashing, really. It's because we love the stuff, and then you think, they just need to improve this and make it even better, and then they just bin it.
Just nitpicking.
Indeed.
When people perform well and we like what their products, our expectations do tend to increase.
Yeah.
I mean, if you stop talking about them, that's really bad, right? That means you hate them and don't want to mention them. So
that's right. Yeah.
Well, that you'd have to ask. Did they hurt you? What did they?
How did they hurt you, son?
No, I mean, it's a good question though, Daren. Like, what have I not used? And it's kind of like there's a lot of stuff in here, and you'd think to yourself, well, I'm not using it all the time. It's kind of like it's impossible to do that. There's a point where, like, Daren, even in your little studio there, you won't be using everything all the time.
I've not used my AN1X for ages.
Yeah.
In fact, actually, I think the last time I did it was when I did the AN1X track, just all with it, and that's like you, probably 2 years ago.
Well, the CS1X up there.
Yeah.
I haven't touched that for a while. Yeah. The DX7 right there has been sitting vertical for you guys have probably noticed that it's been sitting there for ages. It does get moved though. I do move it, and then I put it on a stand, and I use it, and then I put it back, and I put the stand
It's like
away.
wine bottles; you have to turn them once in a while. That's
Make sure the electrons don't fall
to
out.
get rid of the sediment, the electronic sediment. Yeah.
Make sure the operators and the carriers work.
Well, you've got to make sure the electrolyte and the capacitors flows all back to the top, so where it's useful.
I mean, at least I'm sitting in here, I'm using stuff. I mean, I actually feel sorry for some guys. I was talking to a guy the other day, and he was saying that he's been really, really busy with his work, and he hasn't touched his synths for about 12 months. Not even, he's got a studio at home, hasn't even gone in there, because he works away, and he flies all over this, whatever, and then he comes back, and he's got kids, and before you know it, he's back going away again, and he just doesn't have a chance. And it's, for me, it kind of almost makes me feel guilty, because I'm lucky enough that I can do this show once a week. And when I think about it, geez, I've been lucky enough to do it once a week, but not only have I been lucky enough to do it once a week regularly for 6 years. And that's, that's it's not about the commitment. It's about, that's cool that I've been able to do it. I've had the time to do it. And, it gets me thinking about synths and gear and stuff like that. And I don't know, you guys are the same. You watch the show, or you're part of the show, you guys, especially Andy and Daren and Chris, and Ian's not here, but as well. Especially when we show those products each week. So we're kind of cycling through stuff on a really, really fast, regular basis. But every now and then something really stands out, and it will just go, ooh, that's actually really cool, and you end up buying it. And I feel like, if we weren't doing that, yeah, true, you can regret it, but I feel like if we weren't doing that, we would miss out on some of these cool things that we get to take home, play with, use. You know, whether it worked as well as the dream, I don't know. That's sometimes a problem.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of synth FOMO out there for sure.
Mm.
Yeah, can be.
So you'd have that problem too,
Sometimes-
Andy, with the gear.
Yeah. It's just,
You know,
I can't even tell you how many things I haven't touched in years,
yeah,
literally years, because I just don't get around to them, or I've tucked them away sufficiently to make room for other things, and they're in storage essentially for who knows how long. But eventually go digging through, pull it out. It's like go spelunking through the pile of stuff and see what happens.
Go in there with your heart.
And I go,
out
oh
and
my
a
god,
little
this
light.
sounds great. Why did I stop using it?
Well, no, sometimes I'll find that things are no longer working. I go, oh, that's great. All I did was sit there.
Yeah, that's frustrating.
So that's why I said everyone complains about analog all the time, but I've had several digital things just suddenly become dead for no reason at all.
Yeah, and they do tend to go downhill very quick, very suddenly.
Oh, it's
do
just like, it's
absolutely
just
nothing
not like,
very
it's not
quickly.
working partly. It's just gone.
yeah, that's
Gone,
digital.
yeah.
That's digital.
Yeah.
It
It's
just
either on or it's off.
it has a tantrum and that's gone.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's not a battery leakage thing or that kind of stuff. It's just whatever it is. So everyone says, "Oh, analog's a pain in the ass." Well, it can be. It can be expensive, but so can digital. So,
But I feel like the new analog stuff that's been made on the SMC, really, really tiny little components, that they're going to be a pain in the ass to service when they start failing. Because I don't know if you guys have ever done SMC, but it sucks. It sucks.
Although, have you seen the? I mean, I keep on getting fed these videos by the algorithm. All these people doing smartphones,
yeah,
doing repairs on smartphones,
I tried that.
and video cards, high-end video cards, and the diagnosis and it blows my mind what
Yeah.
they do.
I-
It's said that it's
I
their
tried that,
generation;
Chris.
they grew up with it. Yeah.
I had my wife had an iPhone 14, I think it was, and she dropped it, and the back all cracked because it's made of glass. I mean, don't get me started on how stupid that is, Apple, making the back of a phone glass. Okay. Oh, by the way, speaking of stupid, why did you put the charging port on the bottom of the mouse?
Magic Mouse 2. That's it.
Let's talk about stupidity while we're at it. But anyway, I was trying to fix. Apparently, you can fix.
I've been using a different mouse because I've had the other one charging because I can't use
Magic
it.
Mouse 1. Magic Mouse 1 is great.
Anyway, I've been trying to fix the
this is
back
number
of the
2.
phone because to get it repaired through Apple, it's hundreds and hundreds of dollars, right? You might as well, almost to the point where you might as well buy a new phone. And you can go to one of those. I mean this with respect. You can go to one of the Chinese mobile phone booths that are in your local shopping centre, usually run by Chinese guys. And they do it a little bit cheaper, but it's still hundreds of dollars. Anyway, so I tried to fix it. I've used the heat gun. The heat gun works because, ask my finger, it does get hot. And this back of this phone just wouldn't, according to the video, apparently just pops off. Doesn't come off at all. Does not come off. I think they've riveted on there or something. I'm not sure. You just can't get this glass off.
We had a little Chinese shop here for photo repair, and I had my old Nikon FM2. It's a fully manual camera. The only thing electronic in it is the meter. So the battery only serves the meter. Everything else is fully mechanical. So it needs to be calibrated once in a while, and the shutter gets out of alignment, and your shots get all messed up. So I took it to one of those little shops, and you can see down the row, a whole bunch of Chinese guys with their little magnifiers and stuff. They're all smoking butts, working on all these cameras, and the ash is dropping. But they did good work, and it was cheap. I got my camera fixed, and it was cheap. So compared to Nikon fixing it,
Yeah. I mean, I had like 5 or 6 different places I went and got quotes from. One was like 300, one was like 270, one was like 290. They're all kind of within cooey of each other. And I bought this kit off of Amazon for $16. It's the new back glass. It's got the little tools and everything to pull it off and everything. But the first part of the job that you've got to do to be able to even get it off is to heat the back of it up so it starts to break down the glue. And you can use some isopropyl alcohol on it to help. And I've done all that. Trust me, I've trust. In the end, the phone was going to go to my daughter because she needed a new phone. She had an iPhone 12 and it had been through teenager hell. And I just ended up saying, stuff it. I just went to the Telstra shop. Telstra's the big mobile company here in Australia. I just got her a new one. It was just easier. Just got on a plan. $50 a month done. It's like, I'm not going to spend anywhere near what the Apple shop wanted me to spend for at least 8-9 months. So do you know what I mean? Like, I worked that out, 8 or 9 months, and I've got a brand new phone with a warranty.
Yeah.
And if she drops it again, it's come with, insurance on it.
You see why it's so hard to recycle now. And to do the.
So you brought up
environmental
SMT
things.
repair. How hard is it to replace a bunch of those little guys? Do you have to use the heat gun and then some kind of a suction device?
A little suction device.
Pull them off. And then wipe it all down with something.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then start over again, basically. Yeah.
And even still, even if I got the back of it off, right, which apparently was relatively easy, but it wasn't. To get it back on, you need some T3000 glue. And do you think you can get T3000 glue in Australia? No, you can't. T3000 glue doesn't exist in Australia. It does in the US. And let's get T3000 glue in the US. Okay,
Yes.
It's $9 for a tube of T3000 glue. Cool. How much is the postage? $50.
Yes.
It's like, what?
Yes. Welcome to
It's
my
a tube
world.
like this. Yeah, welcome to your world.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
iFixit does sell the kits, and I literally have the equivalent of the iFixit kit because it's made by the same Chinese company that makes the iFixit kits. So already know about it, already done it, already been there, and already rammed my head against the wall about 400 times with frustration.
iFixit's
Even
cool
his
though because they
patience
show you
has
how to
been
take
tested.
the devices apart and they give you videos.
Yeah,
and
they're
stuff.
really
It's
good.
Nice.
Yeah,
Yes.
show you how to do
When
it.
it works. Yeah.
When each stage works perfectly for you in the repair.
You just can't get past the first stage.
I can't get the back off. Yeah, I mean, you literally could get in there with like they call them little punch pens. They they've got a little splayed, almost like a chisel tip, and it has a spring on it. And when you push it in, it hammers it, and it actually they use it. Glaziers
punch.
use it for stuff. I could do that. Apparently, that's another way of doing it. But that's going to put shards of little bits of glass
Everywhere.
Yeah.
and I'm just like, nah, just get a new one.
Speaking of that, have you ever taken a hard drive apart?
Yeah.
Yes.
Have you ever seen the platter
platters.
shatter?
Yeah. Yeah.
It just, you can't even count the pieces. It's
No.
all over the room.
Like millions and millions of little things. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I worked in a well, not, it wasn't my job, but I worked in a place where next to me, where I sat, was a clean room. Yeah, there's a little a head mechanism.
The rare earth magnets. They were a great source of rare earth magnets before you could buy them.
Yeah,
So we pulled apart all of them.
yeah.
Although don't try to use them as fridge magnets because you can't get them off.
Yeah.
So you guys have heard of clean rooms, right? So clean rooms are right where you go in. There's all the air is filtered. There's no dust. Like when you walk through, there's two doors. So there's an inner door and an outer door. You walk through. You step on a sticky mat, so it takes all the particles off your shoes. You then put your little sperm, we call them sperm suits. It's a good name for them. Put your sperm suits on, and you walk in there, and you can do all sorts of cool stuff, like take hard drives apart and repair the platters, and nothing will get in because it's all And I went in there because it was next to where I sat. I was sitting somewhere nearby. I went in there one day. And I just wanted to take a hard drive apart because my work had finished. I hadn't nothing on my desk. Had some spare time. The guy goes, "Yeah, go in there, go for it." And I took this hard drive apart in there, and I went in there, and I already knew from drawings and study that I'd done at uni and stuff. I knew exactly what was going to happen. I took this thing apart. The hard drive was had the clicky problem with the head, so I knew that it was a mechanical failure. And luckily for me, I had this really cool idea because I bought these two hard drives at the same time and they had the same batch number on them. One hard drive was working, the other one wasn't. And I thought, you know what, I can still get this data if I swap the platters over. and and the circuit board, everything should be the same. So I went in there, I pulled the platters out, and I dropped them into the working hard drive, put it all back together, went back to my desk, plugged it in, there's all the data. And I'm like...
That's what Drive Savers does on some of their extreme fixes. They'll just swap platters.
Yeah. But you've got to have it, or I don't know if the guy told me it was Seagate, by the way. It's a Seagate drive. God help me. Seagate in the 90s were terrible.
Yeah. And Apple is using them exclusively.
Yeah, I know. And the guy told me, he said, if you don't have the same batch, you're less likely to have success. So they had to have the same batch, or they had to be made in the same month or from the same, factory batch.
Because of the alignment
Yep.
of the heads on the platters.
Yeah.
Very, very finicky.
But it was fun. Like I remember, like it felt like I was doing an operation.
Yeah. I spent a lot of time in clean rooms. I worked at a laser company for a long time, and I have horror stories about being in clean rooms for hours. And you're clean. You're not getting things contaminated. It's a class 10,000, a class 1,000, and then some other site had a class 100, which is really extreme.
Yeah.
But you don't feel clean yourself because you're sweating in there. And come out of there, it just feels terrible. Yeah, it's just terrible. But all these idiots during like COVID say, "Oh, I can't breathe with the mask." People in clean rooms for 10 hours at a stretch, and they're breathing with the mask just fine. So
the guys that work in there, they're super fit. This was in the 90s. They you'd see them go for runs. They go to the gym. They were super fit guys, and it helped being fit and being like.
We had a few people that look like Michelin Man in there, so it's
yeah. So that doesn't help you. One little drop of sweat, if it came out of the suit, you're screwed.
It's rough. Another funny thing about hard drives, you've probably seen this in these dumb spy movies and adventure movies, where they show the bomb, and the bomb has like a hard drive device in it, and it has no cover on it, and you see the heads going like click, 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 and it's like you've just ruined it. It's not going to read. It's going to have a head crash.
Yeah,
there's giant dust particles in there, man. And then
it's the movies.
I know, but the audience is just so out of it; they have no idea what the hell's going on. So it's just...
I've got a drive somewhere where it's all open and you can still turn it on and watch the platters spin and see the head do that. But eventually it'll just completely seize because all the dust getting in it.
Yeah.
But it hasn't.
Remember Omega Bernoulli drives, the big floptical kind of drives. So they had a demo they would play at Macworld of a drive reading data, spinning in a dusty environment, and also banging into this thing. So showing that it won't crash and it won't be killed by dust. It was a really crazy demo.
Wow.
So yeah.
Like it reminds me of when you go into IKEA and they've got that little glass box where they show the furniture being like some mechanical thing making the furniture being sat in and not sat in and sat in and not sat in.
Oh yeah.
And then
the testing,
it shows, oh wow, look how we test the furniture. It just makes you laugh, right?
Yeah. Giant robot butts.
Giant robot butts. Because that's exactly what happens in the real world. Not.
You can use that as an album title, Giant Robot Butts. So.
The worst hard drives, I reckon, going back to hard drives, is when they brought out the little 2.5-inch mechanicals, little mobile size ones, right? But they were mechanical; they weren't SSDs.
Mm-hmm.
So there was that period where
I've still got one.
Yeah, I've got a whole pile of them
with data on it. Yeah.
Yes, actually.
I still buy mechanical for storage.
That's right.
I've got two right here. These are both mechanical. One's a Seagate. Look at that. Anyway,
I don't trust SSDs for long-term storage.
To me, that was almost like electronic suicide when you think about it, because that device will not take a drop of anything more than, like, if you dropped it further than that, an arm length. If you dropped it an arm length, that thing's probably going to stop working within a week.
Well, when the heads are parked, they can take quite a jolt, but not like, on concrete or something like that.
But the 2.5-inch ones were weaker because they had smaller mechanical moving parts on them, and so they didn't take as much of a jolt to actually become bent out of sorts. They were terrible.
But they had like a G rating on some of those. How many Gs could they take? And I forgot,
I didn't believe it because I used to see them come back, all the time. People would put them in like, they'd make these hop swap, server blades and stuff, and they'd put the 2.5-inch mechanicals, and I'm like, do not do that. That is just suicide. Like, these drives are going to last 2 seconds.
Yeah, and they don't like heat,
24/7.
obviously.
No.
Magnetism doesn't like heat, so...
They had a, I think there was a term for them for a while. SAS? I think it was SAS.
Yeah.
A SAS drive, right? And they had these, they were supposed to be these higher spec, like a mil spec sort of graded mechanical drive that, you could put in blades and, but they suffered the same problem from memory. They were terrible.
Almost feels like the old ENIAC days where you had the tray of vacuum tubes you have to keep replacing.
Wow. Thank God for those days. Oh, the tape backups were fun. Do you remember the tape backups?
Oh, yeah. We had all the formats. It was crazy. We had tape robots. We had all the different sizes and mechanisms, and it was nuts.
One of the jobs I had earlier in my career when I was in the military was I actually had to do the tape rotations in the data center, and it literally was like a physical job where you had to take a little suitcase with you, which had all these labeled tapes. Like, so you would have I can't even remember how that. So you had a daily backup tape and a weekly backup
incremental.
tape. Yeah, and a
backups.
monthly. I think you had 3 different tapes you had to change over every single time, and they had. So you go in there and you'd say today's Tuesday. You'd go in and you'd put Tuesday's tape in, and then if it was Friday, you'd put Friday's tape in, and then you'd swap over the weekly tape, and then if it was the end of the month, you'd swap over the monthly tape. And I would do this, like, for years.
Yeah.
I would do this,
I call myself Mr. Mylar because I was wrangling tape constantly. Because it's just it's ridiculous.
Wrangling tape. Never
They
ever.
had these big bins, and they had to
Never
go
failed.
offsite storage for disaster recovery.
Yeah, because
So-
once you finish the cycle tapes, which was the weeklies and the monthlies, the weeklies got stored locally in our we had these massive compactus vaults things that we stored them in, but the monthlies got sent away. The monthlies got sent away to cold storage. They're probably still living there, forever.
We had a rule here. It was 7 years of back data. So you had to keep 7 years off site.
I just realized something too. In those days, we used to use a word processing program called WordPerfect. Do you guys remember WordPerfect?
Yes.
Yeah, oh,
So
Yes.
I remember because I did a couple of degrees, right? And I didn't do my computer science degree until I was a bit older. And I remember that when I was doing my computer science degree, I graduated, and then this guy who was like a professor, and he was into archivists. He was like sort of doing this thing called the digital memory, and he really liked some stuff I was doing. I was working on this database thesis. This is back in the day when transactional database stuff was kind of still rudimentary. And anyway, so I was showing him how you can't open a WordPerfect document anymore unless you've got a computer that has what do you call it, like a virtualized retro computer.
Even as a raw, you can't interpret it, the raw data.
I mean, there's ways around it, but generically speaking, you can't open it in Word, in Microsoft Word, for example, or you can't
Back when everything was
chuck it on your computer and double click on the file.
Stop
and it
supporting
opens.
it.
Yeah. And the whole point, this guy was like, see, look, another example. And his point was like that everything has kind of like a digital memory, and that digital memory eventually will fail because we've progressed away from some sort of technology or software that no longer is needed anymore. There's image formats that don't get used anymore, for example. So quite interesting it was.
My sister's in record keeping for record keeping and archiving at a local university here, and she's always telling me about situations where it's hard to get through to people, that you need to keep a particular hard drive reader for something that's an obsolete piece of technology, because we may need to refer to that data that's 10 years old. especially at a university.
Well, we see it.
Yeah, it's
We see it with synths, don't we? Especially with some of those retro samplers and old synths. Then they have these older style formats of audio, or where they've saved like a patch. There's some sort of patch file format that they've used, or some sort of digital thing. Even some of the sample formats aren't WAV files, for example. There are other different types of file formats, and you find that you're either having to work out a way to open these files, and luckily there might be some Linux, GitHub project that wrote a, an extractor or something. Yeah. But this is what we're talking about. This exact thing. This is the digital memory of the world is volatile. The digital memory. We are right in the thick of digital memory right now.
It's funny you mentioned WordPerfect though, because there was a time at Macworld Expo where WordPerfect was this huge company, and they had the biggest booth, bigger than Apple, bigger than Microsoft, bigger than anyone else.
Corel?
I think it was a standalone for a while, and then the Corel bought them.
Right, and they were Canadian, weren't they? I think they're Canadian.
Yeah, but they were so crazy, and they had like their own custom umbrellas. So everyone's walking around the expo with WordPerfect umbrellas.
Yeah,
that's expensive.
They were huge. Yeah. Yeah. They were making a fortune, and Microsoft knew this too. Microsoft knew that these guys were making.
And it's just word processing. I mean, it's so funny how.
But it was everywhere. Everyone had it.
Yeah,
right?
everywhere.
Every business had it.
Exactly.
Yeah, there was WordStar. There was WordPerfect. There's all kinds of stuff. It was crazy.
But WordPerfect was the king. It was the like Microsoft Word is now. It was the king, right? And you'd go into a business, and there'd be some lady working at reception, and she'd be sitting there typing away, and she'd be using WordPerfect, typing up your receipt or typing up a letter to the whatever. That was WordPerfect. And that's what I was saying before. A lot of those documents you can't open anymore.
Yeah. Well, there was a time too when you started getting more interchange with different languages and different byte sets and stuff, and all these English-based ones were very limited until they had all these translators come in. But there's this one called Nisus Writer. It was like the best one for a while for anything international. It knew how to handle Chinese, it knew how to handle Japanese, Hebrew, whatever, not just basic English characters and stuff. It's interesting. Took a long time for Word and other companies to catch up.
Yeah, like the character sets. Another thing too. We've our age, we've lived through all the different problems with character sets on computers. Going from ASCII days, with basic 256 character set ASCII. To UTF-8 and all these kind of weird things, right? Yeah,
and all the font formats too, right?
Yeah, yep.
So it's just crazy.
Oh, Lotus, yeah, on the IBMs, the Lotus, yeah,
Lotus and WordStar were two popular ones.
Oh,
Lotus
WordStar.
1, 2, 3, yep.
Definitely use WordStar.
Well, we're probably gonna have to wrap up the stream, I think, guys. It's been a good one today. Been good fun. Hopefully everyone enjoys the rest of their week. And I always say, like, if you can, like, just maybe listen to Great Southern Land by Icehouse if you were. Actually, it's probably more like.
So that No Promises? Is that one of their songs, right? No Promises.
I've got the bin drum here, so that's half of the track. Yep, very good, Rance. Is it in the right key though?
It is. Yeah, I listened to it on the MP3 before, and I got the key right. I'm going to share a photo with you guys before we finish because I thought this is absolutely amazing, and this is kind of a nice little signing off thing. This is a photo of Ivor Davies. He's the guy that started Flowers and Icehouse. This is of his living room. It's not a WebP, is it? Oh my fucking god!
Speaking of formats, you love WebP.
Hang on a sec.
Yes. Open it on the Mac.
No, opening on. I've got it sorted now, boys. I'm going into the Mac, and we can fix it.
Just use OpenView. It opens everything.
I know, but I've got to convert it. I've got to convert it in OpenView.
Convert to JPEG.
Yeah, it's all right. Don't worry. We'll be fine.
Or graphic converter on the Mac. That's another good tool.
All right. So in the Mac, I can go to here. There it is there. Right click, select quick actions, convert image, and now it's a JPEG. Done. And then I can go back into here. And there's the JPEG. Try and stuff me around. There we go. All right. Done. I mean, it was a bit of farting around, but have a look at that. This is literally Ivor Davies' living room. He's got the Prophet 5. He's got the LM1, the Lin drum.
Yeah, just underneath it.
Yep. Couple of tape
Kooky.
reel-to-reels there.
Yeah, reel-to-reel, yeah.
Is that
Roland Echo.
Is that the CR?
Roland Echo.
The Roland Echo.
The 2.0.
Yep.
Yeah.
The what is it? SE202, SE2. I don't know. Whatever you call that thing now. And if you're wondering if you've ever heard the song Great Southern Land, it was done on a Prophet 5 and the drums were done on a Lin drum. So, Chris, you're going to have some fun now with your Behringer.
That's what I said.
Yeah.
I did
And
mention
120
that. Said
BPM, by
half,
the way.
but
You know why it was
excellent.
100?
Of course. Because that's what it defaults to when you switch your unit on.
Yeah, and Ivor didn't know how to change the tempo.
Oh wow, that's funny.
I shouldn't
That's
laugh.
hilarious,
I've been
isn't it?
things less turning on a module. Not knowing
Isn't
how
that
to change
great?
something.
That's a great little photo, I think. Just brings us back. Oh, the best of block shelving, yeah. Do you guys remember that? I had that in the 90s or 80s or whatever it was. We had the breeze blocks or Bessa blocks or the concrete, those little, and you'd buy them and you'd buy a couple of planks of wood, and that was your shelves,
Back when shelves didn't used to buckle, but now every shelf you buy from our local hardware supplier buckles after a couple
because
of
they
months.
use MDF or some other constituted particle board. Yeah. Anyway, I think
And
that
they'd use milk crates for vinyl too, cartridge vinyl on milk crates.
Well, I think that deserves a cheers. That woke Daren up. Thanks, everyone. We're going to finish the stream. We'll see you guys later. Catch you next Saturday.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
See you
Good
guys.
times.
Take care, everyone.